This is natural-sounding voice actor Roger Craig Smith, and you're listening to Scott Clark and the Gaming Outsider! That sounds normal, right? That's kind of how I talk, actually.
What's happening, Go community? Not-E3 season is officially over, so we're going to recap the announcements and which games we're most looking forward to. In news, Xbox announced a partnership with Amazon, and Ubisoft said that there are remakes of Assassin's Creed games in the future. New games discussed include demos for Super Farming Boy and House of Golf 2. I also played a super fun indie game called Rack and Slay, and Mark stops by to talk about the new version of an old Atari game called NeoSprint, as well as an RTS game called Nuke Them All. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found in a number of places. First off, thegamingoutsider.com, our Facebook group, which can be found at facebook.com/groups/thegocast, or in our Discord server. And if you'd like to join that, there is a link in the show notes of this very episode. It is Sunday, June 30th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me is my good friend, a guy who definitely does not want to send inappropriate things to minors, Mr. Zack Parkerson.
What? Whoa. Some Dr. Disrespect going on over here? I guess he was trying to strike a chord, and it was A minor.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah.
I think my favorite meme out of the whole thing was they had a Microsoft Word document to PDF converter.
Mm-hmm.
Doc to PDF.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. That was my favorite meme of the whole thing.
That's
I didn't
good.
want to dwell on that story too much because it's not what we do here. But
You are aware that the striking a chord thing is from Kendrick Lamar to Drake, right?
No,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even know. I know that there's some beef between those two, but I don't understand it.
Yeah. I think you might have ended Drake's entire career.
Really?
I don't really know a lot about the rap game, but yeah, he made a whole song about how Drake's a pedophile.
Seriously?
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I thought this was world news, man. I'm so sorry.
I don't. I keep, the only reason I know about it is I keep seeing, you know how the two dudes on Saturday Night Live do the news where they make each other read their written news article to make them sound like a horrible, horrible person?
Yes, I've heard of this. Yes.
They are hilarious.
Yeah.
First of all, and one of them that the dude wrote from Michael Che was a diss on Kendrick Lamar and called him this and that, and I knew there was some kind of beef, but that was the only thing I knew about it. So I don't know anything.
Okay.
I was educated about the beef between Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly this past week.
Boy, we are old, huh?
I know, dude. This is pretty interesting though. But anyway, video games.
Oh,
is a
yeah.
thing.
I'm going to send you a link to the song Not Like Us after this, just so you know. I'm going to catch you up.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I will check it out later. But I want to make sure to remind everybody to save the date. We got a 2-day event coming, as you all know. It's called R2V2, the Rock River Valley Video Game Convention. It's going to be held on Saturday and Sunday, October 12th and 13th. And boy, I can't tell you what it is, but we have a slight possibility of something big happening.
Don't
at
get
this event.
excited. Don't even tease people. It's such a far-fetched idea.
Well, I'm not going to tell them what it is because I can't. But
Yeah.
we're in the process of possibly making something monumental happen. I don't expect it to happen, but if it does happen, this is going to be a massive event. So
It'd be a shame that I won't be there.
You're not going to be there.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I said this on the show yet, but I will not be able to make it this year.
That's a
Sorry.
bummer, man.
Yeah, I gotta get hitched. So
Gotta get hit. I love how you said I'm gonna get hitched. Like everything is just Western to you.
I didn't even think about that connotation, but you know, that's a phrase people use.
Not anymore.
Whatever. I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, congratulations on your upcoming nuptials.
Yes.
But it's gonna be a bummer that you're not gonna be there, and more than likely Alyssa won't be there. But
Well,
I will be there. CB will be there.
Why'd you have to make it so much better this year than last year? You know, all this,
that's what we do, man.
It's a bigger space, and we got Grant Henry coming, and yeah,
I know. You know, I'm just gonna throw this out there, Zach. Last year we did have a wedding on stage at R2V2. Just saying.
Are you ordained?
I can make that happen. If you guys decided to do that, I would 100% go get that done and marry you two at R2V2.
Wow.
That'd be
be a much easier operation. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty sweet. Now you just got to convince your fiance.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's not the only event we got coming up, though. Extra Life, we're doing an event over at Tilted 10 in Rockford on Saturday, July 27th. They're letting us use the entire place. I don't know if I've told you a whole lot of details. They're opening up the entire place to us, kind of like a lock-in. Obviously it's going to be open to the public for during business hours, but after hours, we're still going to be in there. They're going to keep the arcade up for us. We're going to have these like the little birthday party rooms they have at places like that.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to clear that out with couches and TVs, and we're going to stream it and raise some money for the kids in Waukesha, Wisconsin, at the hospital there. So it's going to be a ton of fun. I wish you could come out, Zach. That'd be a lot of fun to sit down and play some games with you, like couch co-op stuff, like actual, on the couch.
You might have your fill of me then by the end of July, right?
Yeah, because I'm going to see you actually right
before.
before that. We're going to be in Portland together, so. I guess we should have said it. It is just you and I today, by the way. There's no Alyssa, no CB.
Yeah.
It is CB's 40th birthday today. Actually, the day that we're recording this. So happy birthday to CB. I actually went out for dinner and drinks with him and his wife and a bunch of his friends last night.
And I know what everyone's thinking out there. Yeah, I thought he was older too.
I'm not saying that. Let's get into the games that we've been catching up on. I got a bunch, but I'm going to start with you, man. What you been playing?
Well, I definitely didn't play as much as you, man. You were on a roll.
Hey, you guys gave me crap like 3 weeks ago about, hey, Scott, you're not going to play any games over the summer. I played some games these last 2 weeks.
It's about only 1 year out of, 12, 15 years? You finally played some games in a summer vacation?
Happy 10-year anniversary, by the way. We are officially 10 years old here at the Gaming Outsider.
God. Yeah, we're all old. We're all graying before our eyes.
Literally, nobody can see this right now, but like I got this little finger thing going on the side of my head.
Well, Littlefinger was the best character to watch on the show, so.
Yeah, but he was also not the one I would like to model myself after.
He's quite despicable, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I would love to look, I want to look like Jaime Lannister. That guy was a pretty man.
He was a pretty man.
Yeah. Maybe I don't care for his hobbies.
Yeah.
He cared about family. But anyway, video games.
And he rocks. See what I did there?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my
Spoiler
God.
alert.
Yeah, he always made the right decisions in life. Anyway, Darkest Dungeon had a free week of play on the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I assume because Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out.
And I don't know anything about Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, I guess you would call it. I don't know what you would call it. Let me try to explain it. Anyway, Darkest Dungeon had a free week. Always wanted to play it. Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out. So I booted this up. I don't like Darkest Dungeon, I don't think, at all.
Oh.
Which is, we got to talk about the games we don't like, too, on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, I tried it. It is, you're exploring dungeons. It's kind of like a dungeon crawler is what it mostly is. And you're getting into these combat situations and enemies do some serious damage, man. It's not a kind game. But what always drew me to it was its very striking art style, and that does look beautiful. And then after your dungeon runs, you're kind of building up this hometown so that we can go deeper into these darkest dungeons. You're trying to find some ancient eldritch secret. And while you're doing that, your characters can slowly go insane and stuff. And, one of my characters went insane and she started calling the rest of the party heretics and just started attacking them.
Oh.
So it's just like the game just kicks you while you're down. And look, man, I appreciate hard games. You know that.
Yeah, because you're looking at the second game on your list.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think there was just something. I've never liked dungeon crawlers where it is just like, think of those like old school first person dungeon crawlers, where there's not much extra. You're just kind of walking down a hallway until you get into a random battle.
Right.
That's basically what this feels like here, just kind of prettied up a little bit. But it just.
Is it full action combat?
No, it's turn-based combat.
Oh, okay.
And then your characters are lined up like you have 4 party members, and the way they're lined up in a row dictates which attacks they can do to the enemy based on their positioning. So there's a lot of positioning and moving your characters around. But yeah, and it does provide, when you survive and all your party members make it through, it does feel good. Or like I had one character lose his sanity, but instead of going insane, he rallied back and said like, "No, I will not let this defeat me." And he got like a permanent boost for the rest of the dungeon.
Well, that's rad.
And that feels really great. But most of the game feels like it's about chance more than any kind of tactics or skill,
Yeah.
or that could just be maybe I just don't know enough. But that's the feeling I was getting, because your damage numbers usually have a range and has a percentage chance to hit. So it just feels like a lot of rolls of the dice.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a game about risk management, and it probably didn't help that like the text on the Switch screen was teeny tiny, and I'm trying to read like what all these skills do, by trying to like magnify in, and it's just I don't know, it didn't connect with me. Maybe it's a game you need to be in the right mood for. I don't know, but I was pretty excited about it, and it didn't work out for me.
So I'm guessing you're not going to pick up Darkest Dungeon 2.
No, although that one's supposed to be more of a run-based randomizer, like because Darkest Dungeon, the base game is like a 50 to 60 hour game, from what I saw on How Long to Beat. And you're kind of using the same group, but from my understanding, Darkest Dungeon 2 is more about like 10-hour runs, and that'll get cut short a lot, and you'll have to restart over.
10-hour runs?
That's what it seemed like, yeah.
That's not a run. Think
of it like a board
campaign.
game, like a board game or something. I don't know. Or maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it's only a couple hours. I don't know. I only did a cursory investigation. But it seemed like a very different kind of game.
Okay. I guess shut my mouth then.
Yeah, I don't know.
What else have you been playing?
Yeah, speaking of games kicking your teeth in, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Obviously, been playing more of this. Beat it.
You did, all right.
I did, yes. I think the final boss is bad. And not bad like the final boss of core Elden Ring was, where it's just super boring. I don't want to, no spoilers, but this enemy has like attacks that deal with light, and I found the light to be kind of blinding. And you learn to dodge around it. Obviously, I beat him, but it is the first time I can think of in a FromSoft game where I didn't have fun learning the boss.
Oh,
and it just kind of felt frustrating the whole way through. And I'm sure anybody listening will just feel like, well, you should have gotten good. Got to get good. But the important part is I did beat him. It's just I didn't have fun, because even when I was fighting Melania and it took me like a week and 300 deaths or whatever, and she had an attack that was borderline undodgeable, it was still fun to learn her and beat her, and I never got that with this boss. But outside of that, everything is excellent. Some of the best dungeons designs that Elden Ring has, period. There's this cool dungeon that's kind of like buried in water, and you can find a way to lower the water, so it kind of alters the way you think about the environment. And it has that constant surprise that Elden Ring had of, where you're like, maybe I should go down these stairs first, and you do, and it's like a whole new 3-hour area, and you're like, what the hell? Like, this is just supposed to be a quick detour, man. It has like 3 bosses down there. You're like, what is it's an absurdly big DLC. Easily could have been sold as Elden Ring 2, I think.
Did you get all the trophies?
There are no trophies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
The only FromSoft DLC I think that ever had trophies was the Old Hunters, the Bloodborne one.
Really?
So they don't like to do trophies for the DLCs for whatever reason.
I kind of respect that.
I respect that it's a choice they made. Obviously, they would have had to for Bloodborne because it was published by PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So but if they, I would have gone for them all. Sure, of course. I got the platinum in the base game. Would have been a fun excuse to make sure I didn't miss anything. But after I beat the boss, I tried to look around online for stuff I might have missed and kind of explored around. And
so, do you feel satisfied with the Elden Ring, like as a whole? Like you can finally put it to bed?
Yeah. Well, and I will say so much so that like if their next game was Elden Ring 2, I feel like I would actually be I feel like I would be exhausted.
Yeah.
If they're like, hey, do you want to do it all over again? I would probably be like, no, man, I think I'm good
Right.
for a few years. Let's do something new, and then let's circle back to Elden Ring in a few years. How about that? But there was really exciting lore revelations going on here. The story is definitely more in your face than any of their other games has been. It's very easy to follow what's happening in the lore for once, and instead of piecing it together. I thought the revelations were very exciting, interesting ramifications. You can definitely tell George R.R. Martin was involved, because there's plenty of incest that are going on around here.
Oh, gotcha.
And,
I was just going to ask.
And the man just can't get away from it.
Have you been watching
Oh no,
House of the Dragon?
No, I don't have HBO right now.
Yeah, like it was like within like the halfway through the first season.
Well, yeah, I saw the first season. Yeah.
Yeah, like I actually really liked the main character until she started like almost banging her uncle, and I was like, you were like the only good character in the show,
Well,
and now I don't even
she was
like
still
you.
a good person though, mostly.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
but then she started making decisions, and anyway, we could do a whole podcast. On
sure,
House of the
yeah,
Dragon.
of course. Oh, and I did want to circle back to the Skidoo tree blessings last week. If you remember, that's how you level up, and I really just couldn't figure out if I liked them or not.
Yeah,
I've decided I don't like them.
You don't like it?
No, I do not like it. I don't think it's a good system for what they're doing. Because you have to like explore to level up, which is good, right? Because like I was saying, it gives you an excuse to explore. But I don't really think I like that they feel like they become mandatory towards the later bosses, because a lot of them can kind of one shot you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so you kind of need to find them, and I think it can be frustrating because it's a game, right? It's an open world game. You should be able to kind of choose the way you want to go, right? And base Elden Ring did that very well, but here it kind of feels like if you did just want to do the straight story, you're just going to be severely underpowered because you need to explore for the Skidoo fragments, which means that like if you roll multiple characters. So you're just going to have to do a full map exploration almost every time you play them. And that kind of sucks. It makes you not want to roll with a new character.
It's like you're backtracking.
Yeah, and I don't want to like armchair game dev. I'm sure it was very hard to balance all these different builds and levels that people could be coming in with. But I wonder if like maybe if every main boss had a guaranteed level up with the Skidoo tree, and then like the exploring ones was just kind of like if you want to make the game a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would have been a solve.
I get the impression that their concern was not letting people walk in with whatever build they had previously and just walk through the DLC to be super easy. They wanted to really make it challenging.
Right.
They just did it in a way that's not nearly as fun or interesting.
Yeah, because like sometimes these things are hidden in like, oh, this enemy has a jar on their head. If you kill them before they break their jar, here's a Skidoo fragment for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's very hyper specific. I don't know. It just, yeah. I don't know. It didn't work for me. I'm sure plenty of people, I'm sure the From Software fans will tell me I'm dead wrong. But, I put in my dues. I finished the thing and made sure. I was like, yeah, I just don't think I like this level of system.
Huh. Interesting. I know Brian Regos from our community also finished it. He had nothing but positive things to say about it on Facebook. He loved it. I'm blown away that you guys get through those things that quickly. Isn't it like 30 hours or something?
Yeah, I want to say maybe 20-ish that I finished it in.
Okay.
But I also, this is not me bragging, because I'm sure plenty of people beat the final boss easier than me. But like I came in under the how long to beat average of 100%ing Elden Ring by a significant margin. So it could just be that Brian and I have a lot of experience with these games.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I feel like I should, if I were going to do any of this, I just should start at the beginning and go back to the original Demon Souls. Like not the remake, just like the original.
Why do you feel
just
this
like
need?
Work my way back up, man? Like to like learn how to do this stuff. Like I got to do my dues.
No, I really think Elden Ring is the best jumping in point for this series.
Yeah.
It's just so accessible. There's so many different builds, and if you get frustrated with a boss, you can just go elsewhere, which is not an option in any other games. I still like Bloodborne and Dark Souls more than Elden Ring, maybe even Demon Souls, honestly, but I think Elden Ring is the best place to start.
Okay. What else you been playing?
Okay. And I know I've been talking a lot. I'm sorry. But I booted up Kingdom Come Deliverance. All right. Are you familiar with this game at all?
Just by name. I couldn't even tell you what kind of game this is.
Yeah, so it's a first-person open world RPG. You can kind of think of Bethesda as a starting point.
All right.
But its sales pitch when they announced it was all dungeons, no dragons. So it's a medieval RPG, but with no fantasy elements at all.
Okay, that's interesting. No magic.
No magic, no fantastical beasts, just 1403 Bohemia.
Oh, I kind of dig that, actually.
That's what attracted me to the game, because we don't have a lot of medieval games that don't have fantasy elements.
Right.
But this game also intrigued me because of its simulation elements. Like your blades dull over time, like you need to sharpen them on whetstones. You need to make sure you're eating. You got to make sure you sleep, or else your stats deteriorate more quickly because you're tired.
Dude, I don't know, man. You're losing me.
And like if you get in a battle, right, there's blood all over your clothes. People will remark upon it. They'll be like, "Oh my god, what are you doing, dragging yourself in here looking like that?" Or there might even be a quest giver who just won't talk to you at all because they think you're a present. You aren't dressed nice enough.
So do you go wash your clothes? Or?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can go to the bathhouse and they'll launder your clothes for you while you wash down yourself so you don't smell bad.
I think this is the Red Dead Redemption 2 wearing off on you a little bit.
Yeah, no, this is what I want. I wanted the sim element, right? Because it feels like time travel, man. It feels like it's going to such lengths to. But this even feels more sim heavy than that. Than that game, But it is, yes, many of the same stuff I love here. But it's an intriguing story. You play as Henry. He's the son of a blacksmith, and his village gets attacked at the beginning of the game, and then you basically your drive of the game is your father made this like incredible sword for your lord of your town, and then some of the brigands ran off with it. So your kind of early objective is just to get the sword back, which is pretty small scale stakes for a video game.
Kind of respect that, actually.
Yeah. And it's really, I think it's really refreshing. And then combat is also very interesting because you're in first person with your sword or whatever. But when you lock onto a character, it basically shows a little star on the screen, and the 5 different directions is where you can aim your sword. And your goal is basically like try to, kind of combo in to disarm your enemies, or maybe you want to feint because you can hold down the button to look like you're going to attack from the right, and then at the last second flick it down, and your character might do a little feint attack. Kind of trick people.
That's kind of rad, dude.
But it's
awesome.
It's a very sophisticated sword fighting system, and it's crazy because like you can take like if someone like bashes, let's say you're in a fist fight, right, and they like keep grabbing you and bashing you in the head or something, like your vision will start to go blurry and stuff because you keep getting hit in the head.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, dude. It's just there's so many little attentions to detail.
Where are you playing this on? PS5?
PS5, yeah. Mm-hmm. This is definitely I got it on sale with all of its DLC for like $7.
Nice.
Dirt cheap. Definitely not a game to play if you're motion sick because it commits hard to the first person perspective. A lot of head bobs. When you're riding a horse, you're really kind of like bouncing up and down like you really would. A lot of. What really, because I wanted to play it for all the simulation elements, but what surprised me, maybe I shouldn't have because it's from the guy that created the first 2 Mafia games, was how incredibly well directed the cutscenes are and what warmth there is, like the character writing. Like they just take a lot of, there's a lot of small beats that just kind of remind you that these are people. Whether it be like Henry's parents kind of like, like, they give like a quick hug or whatever, and then they, the husband, your dad, like gives mom a pat on the bum and just says like, "Get back to work," Just kind of like there's a lot of like playful human moments that are really makes it really easy to fall in love with the cast, and I feel like Henry is a compelling protagonist pretty much immediately. And I just can't. This is the this game. Like I'm just fell absolutely in love with this pretty quickly. It's the kind of game where you're thinking about it when you're not playing it. Like I was playing Elden Ring thinking about how I wanted to be playing Kingdom Come.
Well, is that because you're just burnt out on Elden Ring?
No, because Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree is great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like, I always wanted to be playing Kingdom Come. It's so good. Like I'm at work thinking about what I want to do next when I get home in the game.
That's awesome. It's refreshing, man. Like I would not have expected you to be talking about that game.
Yeah, I just absolutely love it. I can't wait to play more and more of it. Rare is it where I'm like, I look at how long to beat, and it's like 50 hours. I'm like, thank God it'll last a while.
Yeah,
that's pretty rare feeling to have, but absolutely have it here.
Sounds good.
What about you, man? I'm sure you've played some games.
Can't
just have been me.
Yeah, I finished the 1,000-Year Door, Paper Mario. It took me about 35 hours to finish that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not do everything. There's a whole bunch of extra stuff you can do. Game is super charming. Not a whole lot of surprises with the main story. It's pretty standard Mario game or Mario turn-based game in terms of there's 7 stars I got to collect and
right.
But I still stand by it. My written review is actually on the site that I think the game is just too long, unnecessarily too long. There are there are moments that just like do not need to be there. It feels like you're padding it just to make it a little bit longer. For instance, and I mentioned this in my review too, at the end there is a character that you need to track down in order to do something in this new area that you're in. And they say, well, he's in this next town that you've already been in. So you go to that town, and everyone's like, oh, you just missed him. He's in this other area. And you literally do that for every area that you've traveled to in the game so far, and you go back and you have to find some other random person that says, oh, you just missed him. And then
the princess
come to find
is in
out
another
that,
castle.
Yeah, which is probably the underlining joke there. And you just wind up back at the place that you started. He was there all along.
Oh.
So, well, or not necessarily there all along, but like you had just missed him and he was traveling around trying to find you, you know.
And I'm sure I'm sure there's no way to not go
just
through
wait
that.
for him. Yeah, exactly. But there's lots of moments in that game where like you just have to like go randomly find a random NPC and talk to them to trigger something. And it's just
kind of like a Super Nintendo RPG.
Yeah. And it's not extraordinarily long. 35 hours is not long for a RPG. It's just long for a Mario RPG.
Well, it is. You wouldn't expect a Mario anything to be quite so verbose as you're describing this game to be.
Yeah. There's even one moment in the game. I don't give it away because I know you're going to play it. You know how this is stay with me.
All right.
There's a moment in Metal Gear, one of the Metal Gear games, where there's like an extraordinarily long ladder that you're like, they're not gonna actually go through with this and make you climb this, right? And they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they also turn it into one of the best moments of the game, though.
I haven't actually played. I think that's 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I haven't played 3, so
I'm
just very familiar with it.
They start playing the theme song while you're climbing the ladder. It's good. Yeah. It's actually a good moment. There's a reason people remember it.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's a moment not exactly like that. It's completely different, but it's similar in that they commit to the bit. And obviously, Paper Mario was going to be a little bit more humor. And there's something like this where they're not going to make me do this for this long. And they do. They actually do make you do it.
Wait, is it the tournament?
No, no. Okay. Although that does go on extraordinarily too long.
Like the number one complaint I have heard from people, like friends that have played it, is that is about the tournament.
Yeah, there's just
because it's like 20 matches and they actually make you fight all 20 of them.
Unless I'm sitting there doing this and I'm like, I'll bet you there's some way where you don't have to go through each one of these matches, and I'm just not smart enough to figure it out. But I could be wrong. But that's not the one I'm talking about. There's another one that is just like, really, you're going to make me do this?
So why does this game have such a sterling reputation? Do you think it was just people played it when they were young? And
because the writing is exceptional. It is some of the best writing in a comedic role-playing game. Like it's really good. And they do just some different clever things. There are moments in between finding each of the stars where you're actually controlling Peach and then you're controlling Bowser, because they're doing their own little like side story that's related to your story.
Oh, okay.
It's and those are actually kind of fun. They shake things up, but there's just some of the stuff that you have to do in between to get to the the combat scenarios and fight the bosses. It's just a little long in the tooth, but I was definitely glad I finished it because I was ready to move on to some other things. So I also played a game that was gifted to me. Listener Ryan Shipman just contacted me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I bought one of these Steam bundles, and because." By the way, can we talk about the Steam sales for a minute?
Yeah, so is this your first year where you get to participate as well?
I think I could have last year. I just did not as much because I was still, dabbling in the Steam Deck. And now I feel like most of my game time lately is Steam Deck or Switch. I haven't turned on my Xbox in like a couple weeks.
Oh, what would you play?
I got plenty to play, but it'd be more like catching up on stuff.
I was taking a quick shot at Xbox's exclusives, that's all.
Yeah. So Ryan contacted me and said he bought one of these bundles on the Steam sales, and he got a code for a game that he had already owned, and he just floated it my way. And it's this game called Snake Pass. Actually, one of our former hosts reviewed it on Switch years and years ago.
I think it was like a launch Switch game because I bought this game as well.
Oh, you played it?
Yeah. It's like a Snake 3D platformer, right? Kind of.
It's like a platformer without jumping.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say, but yeah, it's all about coiling yourself around the obstacles to get up to the coins and things that you're collecting. It's very cute, very charming, and it takes a minute to wrap your head around exactly what you need to do because you really have to navigate the 3D space. But it's a very, very cute little game. I also I had to write the review for Necromantic, which is a game that we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's another like Vampire Survivors kind of game. And if you remember, you and I both played it. It was very, very early access when we played it.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know me, part of the reason I held off on writing the review is I just don't like to write scathing reviews and just saying that this game is broken, because it kind of was, at least on the Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give this one more shot and just see. And lo and behold, I had to install an update first and got in, and the game was actually completely playable. We had issues with like the stuttering and the frame rate. It's still there, but not nearly to the level it was. It's now, it only shows up slightly when there's like just a massive amount of enemies on the screen, which I know doesn't take too long to happen, but I'm talking like a massive amount,
Right.
and different kinds. I didn't really hit any stuttering until like the 15 or 16 minute mark of a run that I did.
Okay, that's much better than the 90-second mark.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Plus, I feel like the leveling system wasn't there when we first played it. Like now, you collect these books. Like whenever you defeat bosses or mini bosses, or you can even find them in the environment. Sometimes you find these books that count as knowledge. Because again, you're at a school, right?
Right.
And you take these
a school without classrooms.
A school without classrooms. You just kind of hang out in the courtyard.
Yeah.
And you can take that back and actually upgrade things like your speed or your damage or how quickly your experience raises. So I'm having a easier go of it, and I actually did complete a run. It takes like 20 minutes to get through a run.
Okay.
And so I'm having a lot more luck. But again, this is still early access. They have another leveling system where to get through the story, at least in early access, you have to complete certain objectives, like get this many skulls and beat this boss or whatever, and then you pass chapter 4. And there's 8 chapters. I'm on like chapter 6, I think. So I'm nearing the end of what is available in the demo or the early access period. Obviously, they're going to keep slowly adding to it, but I will say, now that it's actually working, at least again, I didn't play it on PC to know if it was working there just fine when it first launched. It was damn near unplayable on my Steam Deck at first, even with the settings cranked down.
Yeah.
But now that it's working better, I had a hard time putting it down, dude. Once you get into a groove in that game, you don't have those like godlike moments like you do in Vampire Survivors,
where you can't just set down the controller and walk away.
Well, yeah, I never did that. Even though I probably could have, I still like ran around the environment, just like it just felt like I was doing something. But you don't really have those moments where you just feel so overpowered, or you get that one upgrade that just really cuts things loose. But I'm definitely seeing the draw a lot more. So Necromantic. And then I got 3 more, man. I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a lot. These Steam summer sales. I picked up a game that Kevin has been recommending me for a while called Bingle Bingle, which might be the worst title for a game.
It's not a good title.
That has to do with roulette. It's a roulette game.
Oh, I would have never gotten that.
Yeah, it's a roulette roguelike.
Is that supposed to be the onomatopoeia for throwing a... It doesn't. I don't feel like the balls make a bingle bingle sound when they're...
No, it just makes a rattle.
Ball. Yeah.
So, but they somehow turned roulette into a roguelike, which is awesome. Like
in the grand tradition of Balatro.
Yes. I feel like they're doing all sorts of stuff like this, which another game I'm going to talk about in the new games is another game that they've turned into a roguelike. But this one has got so many moving parts, though. But the core mechanic is you have 5 spins, right? You have 5 spins of the roulette wheel and to hit a certain amount of points. And if you pass that certain amount of points, you pass that round, you go on to the next one. Sound familiar? It sounds just like Balatro, right?
Sure.
But the strategy comes in with these upgrades that you get. Like you can lock out certain parts of the roulette wheel so that you can turn a red one into a black one, or you can get instead of throwing 1 ball, you actually throw 3 balls. So that's obviously going to increase your multiplier. You can ice out certain ones to lock out certain slots that aren't available, and you actually make bets each time. I don't know how much you know about roulette, and how the betting works.
But all I know is that I always bet on black.
Okay, Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
No, like there's a whole board, like there's 36 numbers I think on a roulette wheel, and each one of those you can actually bet on a specific number, and if that hits, the odds of that are 36 to 1. So whatever you bet, you get 36 times that amount, and that's how it works here as well. So whatever score you've got, but the chances of you getting that are like slim and none. You can also bet on just red or black, which pays 2 to 1. You can bet just the even numbers, which is 18 to 1. You know what I mean? There's like, it's all odds, like what the chances are of you getting that. So it's a risk versus reward thing. I only bet on red and black just because that was the strategy I did for the first time I did it. So I was like purposely buying all red slots to replace the black ones so that I had more of a chance to get red ones.
Your odds go up. Yeah.
But I'm only getting 2 to 1. So at some point you're going to have to take a higher gamble. You know what I mean?
Right. But do they have upgrades where you can like change the numbers out and stuff too?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's so many moving parts. There's things that you upgrade, like there's like a little shop that you get in between each section to do all kinds of things to shake up the game. It's very clever. It was $10. Recommend that.
Because casino run-based randomizers taken off.
Yeah, I mean it's no Balatro. Don't get me wrong. Like Balatro, I feel like I'm going to play for years.
Balatro is a kind of game that I had to delete off my PlayStation because I could not stop playing it.
It's one of those where like, I'll just play a quick round of Balatro, and then 3 hours later,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, what was I going to play originally? Yeah,
it's just so easy to like, your run goes bad. You're like, oh man, I'm so close. May as well redo it.
Right. Not like anything you did on your previous run has anything to do with your next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like nothing carries over. The other one, I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm not. But they had the Peggle collection for $1.50.
That's not.
I own both of those games on Xbox.
But now you can play them wherever you want to go.
Now I can play them portably.
Dude, there are plenty of Steam games I own already that I owned elsewhere. Okay.
Okay. I'm not alone then.
I think it's the Steam Deck, man. It's the power of the Steam Deck.
I will say this is one of the first games I've used the Steam Deck for where you're required to use the touchpad. So to actually aim, you're actually using the touchpad like a mouse. Because I've never played it on PC. You actually use the mouse to position. And
but it's just surprising because it definitely has controller support, on console.
And maybe I could switch it, but the controls, the stick and the pad do not work in the default settings. So, which is interesting. But it's actually, I'm finding it actually easier to do.
Oh, okay. So it worked out.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. So, I didn't get very far. I passed like the first, world or whatever, where they teach you how to use the unicorn powers.
Uh-huh.
But I forgot how much of a smile that game puts on your face. Just the music.
I was say when that Ode to Joy hits.
Seriously,
you feel amazing.
It really does, especially if you get in $100,000 or 100,000 points.
Or when you have like it zooms in because you're about to hit it, but then you don't, and it goes like, oh,
yeah, it's so good.
Peggle is amazing. How much was it? You said $1.50?
$1.50 for both. It gives you Peggle and Peggle Knights.
Definitely got to pick up Peggle then.
Like, if you guys have not played Peggle, you need to remedy that. Like,
there's no way. There can't be anybody who hasn't played Peggle.
Yeah, I actually told someone about it, and they had never played Peggle, and that was Mr. Kevin Honigford.
Oh my god, this game was a sensation on Xbox Live Arcade.
It was. Well, he was a PlayStation guy at the time, I think. So
okay, that might have done it.
So, I told him he said, I think his exact words over text were, for $1.50, I can't say no, or something. I can't remember.
The Loch Ness Monster owes me $3.50.
Yeah. So anyway, last one I've been catching up on. Hearing everybody talk about Hades 2.
You couldn't wait. You had to dive into Hades 2, but you clicked the wrong one in the store.
No, I already owned Hades.
Oh,
I just re-downloaded Hades 1 because I'm like, that game didn't click with me the first time around. And Zack just raved about it, and everybody raves about it. I got to give it another shot. So I did, and I don't know what the hell was wrong with me when this game first came out. This game is rad, dude.
Oh, you love to hear it. A comeback story.
Dude, I beat the first boss on the first try. Like, I know that's not, the first boss probably isn't super difficult. But
I think that's impressive. Don't sell yourself short. I know you love to sell yourself short.
and I beat the second boss on my second run. So
Wow. All right.
that like Hydra boss,
dude, you're like you're a run-based randomizer king, my guy.
dude. This game is so good, and just the voice acting is so solid,
Yes.
and everything just feels really good. I will say though, if you like the gameplay in Hades, I reviewed a game last year called Ember Knights that I think actually controls better than Hades does.
But does it always have something new to say when you die?
No, there's actually nothing.
Because that to me, I mean, the Hades gameplay is great, but the real draw is like it was unbelievable. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard a repeat dialogue on a game, and I beat it, and I beat it 10 times to get the true ending.
You beat it 10 times?
Yeah, you have.
Oh yeah, it's just like 5 levels or whatever.
Yeah, you have to beat it 10 times to get the real ending anyway. So I had to.
10 times, holy cow!
Yeah, it's a very, very good game. I think it's my second most played game on Switch ever.
Wow, behind
only Breath of the Wild, of course.
So yeah, I thought you might be happy to hear that I actually.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing. And, you know what's fascinating is we both have the availability of Hades 2, and neither one of us are playing it.
I could buy it.
Well, I guess you didn't really care.
Well, that was the thing is like because I considered it. Everyone's just talking so highly about Hades 2, but I'm like, but I didn't like the first one. Maybe I should just download it and see if I do like it. And now I've just got Hades. I can finish Hades.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I would just finish Hades, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean,
I think
it's almost like a reward to come back after you die, and then you get some story stuff.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You don't feel punished for dying because you have something new to learn.
New to learn and new to upgrade. Like it's always fun to go back into his room and like look in the mirror and.
Dude, maybe I should replay Hades.
Am I getting the wheels spinning?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I love that I can play early access games now, while they're in development. But Hades 2, I'm just like, I already know I'm going to love it. I may as well just wait.
Yeah, but it's cheaper if you get it now.
Is it? I know they say that, but it's already $30 in early access.
Yeah, but it would have been less when they first did early. They slowly increase it until the 1.0 release. So that's the draw for early access is you get it early.
I know that typically is like I picked up Fallen Aces for $10 because I know it'll be cheaper, but I maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like Hades has the kind of pull where they're just be like, the price is the price. You can help us develop.
They'll sell that for $40 or $50.
Okay, you're probably right. I'm probably mistaken.
Anyway, that's just the games I've been catching up on. We've got new games to talk about here in a minute as well. But,
no Baldur's Gate this week.
No Baldur's Gate. Kevin is on vacation still. He's actually getting back into town today, so I'll have to get reacquainted with my story because I've actually missed 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
He left last Sunday and he's getting back today. So yeah, we missed 2 weeks of Baldur's Gate, and right where we left off was like entering into the final section of Act 2. So like by the time next week when I come around, I will be just at the beginning of Act 3, which is the last act of the game. So
I was thinking about Baldur's Gate 3 and you this week because I'm so obviously so intimidated by its length, which is nonsense because I feel like every long game I've played lately I've actually fallen in love with.
There's no way you won't like Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, but I was like, maybe I should just steal Scott's thing and just play it weekly. That way you guaranteed kind of chip away at it.
Steal my thing? What do you mean?
Because you play it weekly. That's what I was saying.
Oh! Actually,
you play it once a week is what I mean.
Oh, I got you.
So I should steal that strategy so that way I can kind of guarantee chip away at it like it's a TV show or something almost.
I mean, that's what I'm doing.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's had the brainstorm of like, oh yeah, why wouldn't I could just do that if I'm worried about it eating all of my time.
The Steam sale right now for like $48.
Just feels, I don't know if I'm fully converted to the Steam Deck for giant, long, emotional RPGs yet.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe console is still the way to go.
I mean, you can also play it on your TV, so that there's that option.
Yeah. Don't I need a dock for that?
Like $50.
Yeah.
I have one and I haven't got it to work yet, so I can't I'm not going to talk it up. But
see, maybe you should have sprung for Valve's $80 one.
Oh, it is Valve's.
Oh,
it's
okay.
$80. I don't remember the price of it, but yeah, I paid for the actual Valve one.
Oh, okay.
But for whatever reason, I can't get it to connect.
Yeah.
Or I figure I'm doing something wrong. I was going to wait till Kevin came over and showed me how to do it, but anyway, let's move on. We've got a lot more to get to.
Right.
Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Before we get in the news, I need to talk to you guys about eWin Racing. I've been talking about it for weeks, but I've also been sitting in an eWin Racing gaming chair for months and months and months. It is super comfortable. Zack has sat in it at R2V2 last year. These things are built to last. I have not seen any wear and tear on this thing, and I use it every week, often, sometimes every day. And like I mentioned, these guys were established back in 2001. They were making chairs for racing vehicles, for actual racing cars. That's why they're called eWin Racing, and they're built for gamers of all sizes. I feel like I mention this every week, but I told them my dimensions, my height and my weight, and they sent me the one that actually fit me perfectly. And they go up to even bigger sizes than what I'm using. So I think they're rated for up to 500 pounds. So, even if you're a bigger fella or lady, these things will still hold you. And they're durable, comfortable, highly recommend it. And if you'd like one for yourself, we can get you a discount as well. If you use the promo code TGO at ewinracing.com, you can get an additional 25% off of your first purchase. Again, TGO, short for The Gaming Outsider. We'll get you 25 off at ewinracing.com. Moving on, we got a couple trailers to talk about. First off, Capcom unveiled Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. It's coming to current consoles later this year. Also, Star Wars Bounty Hunter coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC August 1st. I have a feeling that's going to come up in conversation for sure. Also in news, Xbox is coming to Amazon Fire Stick. Ubisoft confirmed that remakes of Assassin's Creed are coming. And someone has Mario 64 running on a Game Boy Advance, believe it or not. And then we also got PlayStation's free titles for Plus subscribers that were announced for the month of July. Zach, what would you like to talk about?
I think Game Pass coming to Amazon Fire Sticks is a monumental shift.
I would agree. I mean, it was already on Samsung TVs, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like you get the app on Samsung, and then just get a subscription, and you're good.
But this is part of Xbox's plan to be everywhere, right? To allow you to game from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Video games are for everyone. It's only 25 countries to start with, but
U.S. being one of them.
Sure, that seemed like a safe bet.
Yeah,
and I think you need a specific Fire Stick, right? The Fire TV Stick 4K or 4K Max,
correct,
to work. And but then outside of that, dude, you just need a controller, and you can just game anywhere, whenever you want. Cloud streaming, and I feel like a lot of people aren't sold on cloud streaming technology, but every experience I've had with it, at least on Xbox's side, has been good. So I have no complaints. Or I played the entirety of Force Unleashed 2 off of PS3 streaming, and it worked just fine.
Yeah,
I got no complaints. I think people hyper focus on latency too much when it doesn't matter with most games.
Well, people don't like change.
That's also true.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want to play Call of Duty online via cloud streaming. You'll just get destroyed. But if you're just playing a single player game, your brain will adjust.
The question I have is, who's going to buy a Series S now?
Well, they sell them so dirt cheap.
Still a lot more than $50 for a Fire Stick, and a controller.
And you can download them locally.
Mm-hmm.
Games, you don't have to stream them, right? Because with Fire Stick, you're just going to be streaming.
Right, that's a good point.
So that's that can be a big difference. Dude, I think this is a huge moment. This is it's one more domino that they needed to knock over to get Game Pass more places.
Yep, and I think that'll sell a lot more Game Pass subscriptions.
I think so. Yeah, you got to meet the consumers where they are. This could sell a lot more casual Game Pass subscriptions, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with Call of Duty coming out.
Yeah.
I guess Call of Duty players are going to already have a console, either Xbox or PlayStation, right?
Right. But there will be plenty of Activision titles. So get a little Crash Bandicoot on your Fire Stick.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of couch co-op casual type stuff on Game Pass that makes sense for the living room. Like a family living room.
Yeah.
I think this is huge news. So, yeah.
Definitely.
I'm surprised this is the story you wanted to talk about. I assumed you were going to have things to say about Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Why? Because it's already on PlayStation?
I'm confused by this because I didn't know that. And then I went back and watched looked at the link that you had provided on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, this has been out for a while.
Many years, yeah. So if you're a PlayStation gamer, I'm not sure because the ones they did before was like Disney, and it's like a PS2 to PS4 kind of like soft remaster that they did a lot of back then.
Yeah.
And it's just it looks good, plays fine. This this new version will presumably cost more, maybe they'll pull Ubisoft right and delist the old one. Who's to say?
Right before it goes on sale.
Yeah, but
well, they didn't do it right before it was announced, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, so it's great news for Xbox and Switch players, but this has been on PlayStation for years. I've played through it on PS4.
Never played it.
Oh,
it looks good though.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's not as good as you want it to be.
Yeah.
I want it to be the ultimate bounty hunting simulator, but it's not quite that.
Gotcha.
But it's a great little action game, and you do hunt bounties while you're on your levels, and it's kind of like a little bonus money. The Aspire re-release is finally making it so the Boba Fett skin that was hidden in the game code is available readily to everyone, so that's cool.
Why was that hidden? Why was it not used?
I can't remember the reason.
Huh.
I think there was a way to access it, I want to say, but they make it easy here in the remaster, so that's nice.
Gotcha.
Because let's be honest, Jango Fett's cool. Boba Fett, cooler.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of games that I have never played, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster.
You've never played Dead Rising?
I never played Dead Rising. I think I was scared of the clock, man. Like everyone just talked about that clock.
Yeah,
in that game.
that's a great point. Yeah, because if you're a minute off, people die.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, you would have hated that.
But it feels like such a staple in Xbox history, or was it just Xbox?
The original was just Xbox at launch. I think they did a Wii port later.
Yeah. It just feels like such an important game.
Yeah, it was called Chop Till You Drop, which is a fun name. Dead Rising. Yeah, that was a cool game. I feel like I played the demo more than I did the game.
Yeah,
because the demo let you in such a large portion of the mall. But it was fun. Like you could pick up anything, use it as a weapon.
Yeah,
or was it the
serve wars?
He did cover wars. There's something delightful about throwing a Servbot head from Mega Man onto a zombie and then taking a photograph of it for
like
points.
A selfie.
Yeah. I don't know if you could take selfies in the first one. Selfies weren't big back then, like they are now. But yeah, this is a random pull. I feel like I wouldn't have expected this.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I was not expecting this at all. But if this is the way to play it, I may just have to pick this one up and give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't think it's a very good game, but it is a historically relevant one.
Yeah. Is it long?
I don't think I've ever beat it, man, to be honest.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of that Hyrule Warriors things you're complaining about where it's just repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how many roomfuls of zombies do I need to katana my way through, before it just kind of gets old?
Oddly enough, I played 3, Dead Rising 3.
Because it was an Xbox One launch title?
Maybe, and I just thought this is just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like the most fun I had was actually running over zombies with a vehicle.
Yes, they just get mowed down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found Dead Rising to be a little bit boring. The demo was fun. It was, it existed back in that era, Scout, where you could just play every game if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
There was enough time.
There weren't enough of them to you could actually exhaust the available games.
It was a weird time to be alive.
Yeah.
Kids today don't know what they got.
The real story I wanted to talk about was Ubisoft confirming remakes of Assassin's Creed. This came from a recent interview with Ubisoft CEO. Is it pronounced Yves?
Eve.
Eve? Just Eve?
I think it's just Eve. Eve
Guillemot. When he was asked about the future of the franchise, and I'm just going to read you the quote. He said, firstly, players can be excited about some remakes, which will allow us to revisit some of the games we've created in the past and modernize them. There are worlds in some of our older Assassin's Creed games that are still extremely rich. Secondly, to answer your question, there will be plenty of experience variety. The goal is to have Assassin's Creed games come out more regularly, but not for it to be the same experience every year, he explained. There are a lot of good things to come, including Assassin's Creed Hex, which we've announced, which is going to be a very different game from Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're going to surprise people, I think. There have been murmurings of a Black Flag remake for quite a while now, so this isn't a huge surprise outside of it, going back to the well and remaking some of the other ones. I would love to go back and replay the original Assassin's Creed because I haven't played that since launch.
I say the original Assassin's Creed feels like the only one that needs a remake.
Yeah,
Right,
I feel like
kinda-
2 just had the collection, right?
The
Like,
remaster, and that was good enough. And Black Flag definitely doesn't need a remake.
I don't think so
And it's,
either.
and it's perfectly accessible on modern consoles.
I don't want them to take away the combat in 4. I know everyone hated it, but I thought the combat was great in its simplicity.
Oh, what was wrong with it?
Well, people want what the combat is now.
No,
You know,
combat,
like-
but the combat now is boring.
I thought I was in the minority, man, because I love the like have enemies surround me, block, let them attack me, counter and stab them, and then wait for the next one.
But that,
I love that.
That to me always felt like you were a highly trained assassin.
Yes,
Yeah, and the one now is just like just tap the square button until the bad guy dies.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would definitely play a remake of the original because I remember Altair just being a really cool character.
Yes, I think that would be great. I think that would be the one that needs it the most. There's no world I feel like where I need to play a Black Flag remake.
I've already played through that game to completion twice.
Yeah, well, if I wanted to replay it, I would just play Black Flag.
Or play Rogue.
Well, I've never played Rogue.
I mean, it's the exact same game, just like a different map.
It looked like it, except you played as a Templar in that one.
Well, not necessarily. It was like you were on the fence. Like you were. It was an interesting story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can all agree 3 is the best one, right?
I still think 2 is my favorite.
I know 3 is not a favorite.
3 had the best opening though.
Yeah, sure. I think it
Yeah.
had the best story. And I thought it concluded Desmond's story well.
I thought Desmond's story was concluded in Revelation.
Incorrect.
I didn't finish Revelations.
He's trapped in the Animus in Revelations.
Oh,
And in 3, he has to make a big decision about the
Oh.
fate of the world.
okay. Man, I gotta go back and play 3. Dang it.
Yeah. I was just remembered at the beginning of this year, one of my resolutions was to play through Brotherhood Revelations in 3. I better get
How's that
started.
going?
I better get started on that if that's going to happen, huh?
Well, apparently they're not as long as we remember them being.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I replayed 2 last year and it was like 10 or 12 hours.
That's just nuts.
But it felt long back then. But I guess the average game back then was like 6 hours long, 6 or 8.
Yeah, but does that include like? Because when I played those games, I was meticulous about clearing every
That-
section of the map.
My completion time included all of the towers and all of the assassin's tombs.
Okay, which is really all you need to do.
Yeah, there's not really the other side stuff is not that exciting.
Yeah, but
I didn't like fully build up Monteiro Joni or anything, but
Right.
yeah, no, I would say a fairly thorough playthrough took about 12 hours.
All right. You're making me want to go back and do it.
Those
I don't remember
spreads-
I told you.
Those games are pretty good, man.
I bought the remastered collection. It has like 2 Brotherhood and
Revelations? Yeah.
Revelations on it.
Uh-huh.
Because I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can play through them again and just earn more achievements. Nope, they're the same set of achievements. So I'm like starting. Like I had them already in there when I went in there.
Oh, that's
So-
so strange.
Yeah, so I bought it. I mean, it was like $5. It was on sale, like one of those weird sales.
Yeah.
I just assumed it would have been like a new set of achievements.
Yeah.
but
That's very surprising. You
Yeah.
sure you did that right?
no, I'll have to go double check.
I'm not trying to,
I just remember being
insult
very
your
disappointed.
intelligence.
I was like, I'm all stoked. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna play this again and earn those achievements.
You're going to find every feather in Assassin's Creed 2 all over
Yes.
again.
No, there's no way that's happening.
There's also no way you would play through Revelations.
Dude, I hated Revelations. Did not like it at all.
It's a great game. The tower defense thing is only mandatory like once or twice.
Yeah.
Just get through that. All the stuff with Altair is great in that game.
Well, hey, if Hades taught me anything, sometimes going back
Yeah.
and trying it again with this fresh set of eyes, seasoned eyes.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that can work. You just play a game at the wrong time of your life, man. It just go around.
Let's see. PlayStation titles for July: Borderlands 3, NHL 24, Among Us. Those are all going to be available July 2nd. So,
Boo.
boo.
It's not a good list of games.
Oh, yeah.
Borderlands 3, who cares? NHL 24, shout out to the hockey fans, I guess. Among Us, this game's like $5.
Yep.
Feels kind of like it doesn't feel like an exciting freebie.
And I was reminded because I was like, well, what's the Xbox ones? Oh, I forgot they dropped that whole thing with Xbox.
Yeah. Well,
So-
yeah, you got Game Pass, right?
Yeah, Game Pass, exactly. I thought this, just real quick, I want to mention this whole Mario 64 and a Game Boy Advance thing. Have you seen it in action?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah,
I was
I ever want to play, but
surprised you it tickled your fancy so much.
I just thought it was interesting that
It's
gotta
kind of
give the guy credit. His name is Joshua Barretto. He actually did whatever to get like that first level of Mario 64 running on the Game Boy Advance in 3D, like actual 3D, not like faux 3D.
yeah.
Like a lot of games.
Well, it's just like John Romero says, anything that has a display can technically play Doom.
Yeah,
Like these people are figuring out it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It is impressive to do the 3D on Game Boy Advance. I guess that is true.
Yeah.
I would never, ever, ever want to play this.
no, like you remember how Mario's hands were boxes? Now they're triangles.
Yeah, well, you remember how the gameplay was fast, exciting, and smooth on N64?
Yeah.
Doesn't look quite as smooth here on the GBA.
No.
But it's
I
still
doubt he's even like finished this project.
No. Who would it be for? I guess it'd just be for himself.
Yeah.
No, but it's cool that he pulled it off. You're right.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Moving on, just want to remind everybody about Patreon. If you'd like to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. We are a little behind on our June episodes, but we hope to have those out in the next couple days. Hopefully by the time you hear this episode. So I apologize for the delay, but it has been a busy month. You know, building a deck, cutting the power off to my garage, all that stuff. It's been a little nutty. So yeah, if you'd like to help support us, again, it's patreon.com/thegocast. I think we're going to do a Peace of Mind episode. We're going to record that tonight, right, Zach? Maybe?
That's the theory.
And I think Kevin and I are going to do our concert episode, our music appreciation episode. I'm looking forward to chatting with him about that. So again, patreon.com/thegocast. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the new games we've been playing. All right, Zach, what is new on the horizon that people can purchase this week?
Beginning of the week, we have a JRPG stunner, The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak, the latest release in the long-running Trails franchise. Coming to PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC July 5th. Bleak Faith Forsaken is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, getting a next-gen upgrade July 5th. Lifeless Moon Experiential Walker coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One July 9th. Once Human is a PC, looks like an open world survival game that's been getting a lot of traction, but it's releasing all the way on July 9th. Princess Maker 2 Regeneration. You can raise your own little Princess Scott. I know this appeals to you probably directly. Coming to Switch and PC July 10th. You can seduce women and smoke a hookah in Hookah Haze, coming to Switch and PC July 11th. That's for a very niche audience, but I bet they're through the moon right now with excitement. Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown gets ported over to Switch July 11th. And then Anger Foot, a first-person shooter with a heavy emphasis on kicking, coming to PC July 11th. Scott, from this list, besides Princess Maker, of course, what is catching your eye?
Not much, man. The only thing that just like you said, catches my eye is Ace Combat 7, but I already own it on PlayStation.
Yeah, I know you love Ace Combat. Yeah.
I love Ace Combat, so I don't know if I want to play that portably. Like, that's not a play on a handheld style game. I want the big TV and I want the headphones, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that experience. I understand.
So yeah, that's really about it for me. What about you?
Well, it would be Trails Through Daybreak. This game looks awesome. And these I've been playing through the Trails games. This one's full 3D, pretty exciting, huge step up. It kind of fuses real-time and turn-based combat. Looks great. However, I've been convinced by the Trails community that it would be foolish of me to jump ahead now. So I have to put my excitement aside, and I think I just have to wait and play it in order. It's a shame because this is like 6 games away from where I'm at now.
Oh my goodness, you got a ways to go. Well, on the bright side, it'll be cheaper. You'll spend less money in the long run.
Well, you know me, I got to have it physically, so who's to say? Because some of these Trails games sell out and others don't. It's totally hit or miss. But yeah, I got to get through the 4 Cold Steel games and then the Reverie kind of team-up game. So 5 more of these friggin' games, and then I'll finally be ready for Trails Through Daybreak. But Daybreak looks great because he's like you're playing this kind of like private eye character who's not afraid to take jobs for bad guys. And if you played Trails, most of your characters are pretty goody two shoes, so it's kind of nice to have someone a little more rugged, I suppose.
Yeah.
And he's 24, so in JRPG terms, he's basically retirement age.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting as well. Yeah, dude, I'm very excited for that game, but I will be responsible. Why ruin it now? You know.
Mm-hmm.
But jumping ahead and potentially spoiling some things for me.
I think you made the wise choice.
In the long run, yes. It's just, it's hard to see all these reviews about how positive, how great it is. It's the best review Trails game yet. And here I am just sitting on the sidelines trying to play through Trails Azure still.
It's all right, man.
Yeah. I'll get to it. I'll get to it in a couple years. But as for a new game, Scott, you couldn't be stopped with all those games you had played already in the week. You've also been playing Super Farming Boy.
If you had asked me like last year if I was, Scott, you think I would review a game called Super Farming Boy? I would have been like, no. But the developer actually, or my PR contact, sent me another request and said, hey, I don't know if you got my last email, maybe it went to your spam folder, but we really like it if you checked out the demo for this game. And so I did. And you remember Harvest Moon? Like
Yes, yeah, I'm aware of Harvest Moon, yeah.
Back on Super Nintendo? That's where I played it, on Super Nintendo.
I think it's been on every console ever made.
Has it? I'm talking about like the original. I know there's been like different iterations of Harvest Moon.
I'm saying yes. I'm saying that you have there is access to a Harvest Moon game anywhere you want.
Okay. So, on the surface, this looks very Harvest Moon, and it is. It's about planting your crops and everything, but this one has a little bit more purpose. I don't remember like your end goal in Harvest Moon. It was just, raise as much money as you can, right?
Wasn't it just like get married?
I don't even remember, dude. It's been 30 years since I played Harvest Moon.
Maybe that was my goal. I wanted to get married, maybe.
Yeah. So this one actually has a story-ish. So you play this little green dude with the cape that can fly around on a map. You wake up and you're happy as a clam on this farm. Your mom is there, which your mom is a star, 6-sided star.
Sure.
And all of a sudden this evil entity shows up. I think his name is Corpo. Like he's supposed to be like the evil corporation.
Evil, yeah, sure. He's big farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't say big pharma because that's something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, this evil corporation that basically takes your entire farm and says that now everything that you earn, you have to give a percentage to me every time, and then you can have whatever's left over. And they even do this like goofy little thing when he sucks all of your your harvest.
Mm-hmm.
He'll like flip you a coin, and it actually adds one more coin to your. I thought it was a neat little touch.
Toss a coin to your farmer.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head the rest of the night, dude. Thank you very much. And then he takes your mom as well. So he says you can have your mom back with the price. So the interesting thing is that the game starts you with a fully functioning farm, and all of the power-ups. And then when this guy comes, they do the Metroid thing.
Oh, okay.
And they strip everything of you and then make you start from scratch and build this farm. Again, I only played the demo. This is not the full game. But this game does something with the Harvest Moon formula that I think is really interesting. So the thing I loved about Harvest Moon is that I could put all of my crops in nice, neat little rows, right? I could put all my radishes over here. I could put all my cabbages, whatever. That is really difficult to do in Super Farming Boy because of the combo system that is in place in here. So what they do is when you're planting crops, each different type of plant has a specific combo design. So for instance, the first one that you get is corn. When you plant corn, corn's combo is the space directly to the right of it.
Okay.
So when you harvest corn, it will not only harvest that corn, it will also harvest the one space to the right of it. So if you imagine taking an entire line of corn,
right, that's
you
what
just
that's where my
harvest the
brain
left
went.
one,
Yeah.
and you would just have it straight in a row, and then it harvests all 6 or however long your field is. But each plant has its own design. So another plant might be, 1 to each corner. So if I do this one, it will automatically harvest the one to the upper right, upper left, the bottom right, the bottom left.
And does the combo yield more crops, or is it just making things easier?
It makes things easier, and then it also, like, if you do a large enough combo, it yields like a precious stone that actually counts as extra money.
Oh, okay.
So there's definitely incentive to do it, but efficiency is also a big name of the game because there's also a day-night cycle. There's a day-night cycle, so after a certain point, you just have to go to bed. But you also have a stamina meter. So every time you pick up you till the land, or you pick up a plant, or you fly, because you have a fly mechanic to be able to zoom around the farm at a much quicker pace. Everything drops your stamina meter, and you can actually drop to 0, and you just pass out in the middle of work, and you wake up the next day, and you get a letter that says, "Hey, we found you passed out in your fields. We're charging you $50 to put you to bed." So it actually takes away from your bottom line.
That's a hell of a fee.
Yeah. But you can go to the town and actually buy food that your character will automatically eat when he's low on stamina, which is nice. You don't have to go to a menu and eat something. It just automatically does it. And it's obviously worth it to be able to get through the day and keep working, because you're going to harvest more, you're going to grow more, and all that kind of good stuff. So there's a lot of interesting moving parts in this game that make it difficult to put down. I'm battling a little bit because I can't do my nice, neat little rows. I got to come up with patterns that make it efficient and also give me the combos that I want. So there's a lot of trial and error that I'm playing around with. But the nice thing is that there's no ticking clock over your head. I mean, you got the day-night cycle, but if you have a bad day, you just try it another day. It's not like you're under the gun. You could go at your own pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, this one's actually coming to consoles as well. I think this is one that I almost would rather play on PC, because I think clicking on the actual, it sounds like first world problems, but clicking on the thing to do it, to harvest it or dig or whatever, is easier than walking your character over to it and selecting,
Sure.
pressing the button. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
I understand what you're saying. It just doesn't seem like that big of an inconvenience.
no, it's not. But I mean, if you're doing that over and over and over and over again, it'd be nice just to click, 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 click instead of move, click, move, click. I don't know.
Understood.
But so yeah, Super Farming Boy. The developer is Lemon Chili Soft. Publisher is Renxo Europe Limited, and it was provided to us by Jesus Fabre. And actually, the review is on the site if you'd like to read more about it.
So you recommend that one?
If you like farming sim games, yeah. Like if you've been looking to scratch that Harvest Moon itch, and Stardew Valley didn't do it for you like it didn't do it for me, this might scratch it more.
Wow, didn't do it for you, huh?
I could not get into Stardew Valley. I tried multiple times.
It's the second most played Steam Deck game.
I believe it.
But you're a man of variety, as evidenced by the fact that not only did you do some farming this past week, you went golfing.
Oh, well, I tried.
Yeah, with House of Golf 2, the hook of this one is that it's like mini golf courses, but inside of a home, right?
Yes. We've played golf with friends together on Xbox, have we not?
I wasn't there, but
You weren't there?
Yeah.
We need to remedy that. Golf with friends.
Soon we will, my friend.
That's
Soon
a
we
blast.
will.
If you're not familiar with Golf with Friends, it's House of Golf 2 is almost identical gameplay in terms of mechanics. It functions very similar. Like you position, you raise to how much power you want, you press a button and it shoots. It's mini golf. Like Zack said, though, this one takes place entirely inside of a home, so everything is, the courses are made out of household objects. It reminds me of Micro Machines on the NES back in the day, where like you're racing around like your bedroom and going across, rulers and getting stuck in gum and things like that. That's what this feels like. I feel almost guilty talking about this game, though, because I'm playing it on Steam Deck because I don't have a PC. And remember the issues I was having with Necromantic, where I was like borderline unplayable because the frame rate was so bad?
Mm-hmm.
I'm having the same problems with this one.
Well, that's the trouble with the demos on PC, right? Is that they're not probably factoring in the Steam Deck.
Right. I mean, I always ask my contacts when they're sending. I'm like, look, I don't have a PC. I have a Steam Deck. Is it playable on there? And they say, oh yeah, it runs fine. It doesn't yet. So I'm looking forward to some updates. I probably will hold off on writing a review for that demo until some updates are made because it worked out well for Necromantic.
Right.
But I see a lot of potential with it because I love Golf with Your Friends, and this one just feels more clever in terms of level design. There's even like alternate ways that you can go through the courses to get like these collectible coins or whatever, and you get rated at the end of the courses if you do that. So I want to play it. I just can't. I made it through one round, like nine hole course, and I just couldn't do it. Like it's like I would move the camera, it would do nothing, and then 2 seconds later it would move. You know what I mean? Like
that's a very strange problem.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if it's a problem on my end because I'm not playing on an actual PC, but I get the impression that developers, their first thought is not to make this optimized on Steam Deck. They just want to make it playable.
Of course, and nor should it be. We're a very small percentage compared to PC owners.
Right. Yeah, we're the people that are too either cheap or don't want to mess with it to actually build a PC.
I'm too simple-minded for a gaming
Right.
PC.
Right. But it is coming to Xbox and PlayStation. I feel like I will definitely pick this up when it comes to Xbox, especially if it's got the multiplayer component. As long as they do the multiplayer component like they did on Golf with Your Friends, that is beautiful. What they do in Golf with Your Friends. I don't know if I've told you about it, but they like you can play like 8 people at once, and everybody's ball does not impede with anybody else's. Everyone just you see everybody shooting, but it doesn't affect your gameplay.
But
I think that's
it keeps the pace up compared to a normal golf game.
Yeah, you don't have to sit there and watch 7 other people play. You just go.
It is kind of fun watching people play, though.
Well, and you still can. Like, if you finish the hole, then you can go pick which player you want to and actually see their perspective and see them finish the hole. So
I just remember I have fond memories of my brother just playing Mario Golf. And one of them shoots into the bunker, and you're like,
yeah. Dude, I love golf games. Like, I'm terrible at real golf, but
well, George Carlin put it best when it came to golf.
I don't remember what he said.
Oh, it's just an elitist, rich person sport that only the brain dead of having too much money could think up, where you hit a ball and you walk after the ball to hit the ball again.
George Carlin said some pretty poignant stuff back in the day, man.
Yeah, he was pretty great.
Pretty good. Anyway, that was developed and published by Starlight Games, and the PR it was provided by 4 Media Group Inc. But I will talk about that more in the future.
For the record, I do love golf. Every time I've gone golfing, I've enjoyed it, but I do feel like the land could probably be used for smarter things.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not a video game discussion.
Yeah.
Just saying, George Carlin, he's an interesting fellow.
He was.
Sure. Yeah, he was. Hey, man, some of this stuff is timeless.
Some of it,
like
yeah.
Like the fact, like his bit about how no one wants to live near prisons. But that would probably be the safest place to live, right? Because if you're escaping from prison, no one's going to hang around.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so good. But anyway, speaking of games I assume you actually could play, Rack and Slay. When I booted up my Steam Deck the other day, Scott, I saw that you were playing this. And looks like so is this a? And I kind of stalked you a little bit. I checked out the store page for it. Is this a pool run-based randomizer?
It is.
That's very interesting. Okay, how does this work? It looks like you're almost trying to shoot into objects you need to pick up before you go to the hole. Is that right?
It's part of it. And I got to say, before I get into explaining it, the only reason I even checked out this game is I heard Jeff Kanata talking about it on his podcast, and he described it, and I was like, I have to play this game. And then I looked it up, and it's $6. I was like, I'm definitely buying this game for $6. But so yes, it's a run-based randomizer, and you're basically a sentient, or you have a little face on your cue ball. You are the cue ball, and then there are these like red enemy pool balls all over the stage, randomly put out there. The pockets are random. Sometimes pockets are in the corners and the sides. Sometimes they're even in the middle of the field. Sometimes they've got a board crossing them, so you have to do it on either side of the hole, or sometimes there's 2 boards with a spot in the middle. There's obstacles. There are bombs. There are spikes on the outside walls, and if you or the enemies do anything to get hurt, you're dead, right? Like, or the enemies are dead.
Oh man, the spikes feels mean.
Well, yeah, and you have so many. Your character has hit points. I think you start with 6 hit points, so you can get hit, and not die. But each of the other ones has, 1 hit and they're dead. But your goal is to clear all of the enemy pool balls off the screen in a certain number of turns. So you start with 10 turns, and you can hit them into the holes. You can hit them into spikes. You can hit them into a bomb or a bear trap, or whatever way you can to dispose of them. You've got so many turns in order to do that, and if it takes 10 turns and you get it done in 8, you got 2. You cleared it in 2. I don't know, par or under par or whatever. You get 2 coins,
Oh,
and then you can use those
bonus.
right. And then you have coins that, before you go to the next round, you go to a little shop and you can replenish your HP or increase the number of available shots you have or increase the power of your shots or things like that. But then they do the RBR thing where you get 3 choices of things that will make the next round a little bit more interesting or helpful to you. Like, every time you hit an enemy, you gain 2 points or 2 coins. Or at the end of your turn, you shoot out 4 bombs and just cause utter chaos, and hopefully things go in your. It is so fun and addicting, dude. It's really good. The only knock I have against it is I can't like. There's not like a story mode. It's just like your way to try or to move forward is just to change the rules of the table to make it harder, to increase the difficulty, and you have a constant level progression. So I'm like at level whatever, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of direction. You know what I mean? So I'm worried I'm going to hit a wall where I just don't want to play it anymore because I have nothing more to gain or achieve.
Well, for $6, you'll probably have gotten your fun by then.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why I could not wait to talk about this game because it is so much fun. It's the one that's been the hardest for me to put down this week. It is like the physics and everything are done really well, and it does that pool ball, hitting a pool ball sound effect that.
Oh yeah,
that's
a great sound.
It's a great sound, and it's really fun to pull off different moves. And there's been a couple where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I figured out some trick bank thing to make this happen, and it's just very, very satisfying. Oh, and the enemies also, you've got, I think they call them normies. They're just like a regular red ball that do nothing. They have no special ability, but then you have other ones that do something special. Like one is like a poison pool ball. Like if you hit it, it actually does damage, but it destroys. So what you want to do is you want to hit that one into a spike or a bear trap by hitting another ball first to avoid getting hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's clever.
Or one will, like at the end of every turn, he will actually just automatically do a full power shot in your direction, no matter where you are on the map. So even if he's not going to hit you, he's just going to go in your direction, which could be a benefit to you because he could knock himself into a hole, or he could knock another ball into a hole. And it's just all sorts of random fun things going on each course that for $6, I can't recommend it enough.
It's unbelievable how these small developers keep figuring out ways to fit any idea into this genre,
right?
And that it somehow works usually.
Poker, roulette, pool,
yeah.
Like it's just insane. I will say I like this one better than Bingle Bingle, the roulette one. I don't like it as much as Balatro just because Balatro is Balatro.
How could you, bro?
But for $6, I really hope people check this game out. It's super addicting, and it does that. Oh, I just died, or I just finished that level. I'm just gonna do one more, and then bump the difficulty up, or try that. Oh, it even does a daily thing, or like there's a daily challenge that does like it's the same thing for everybody that tries it. Instead of it being completely random, they actually have a set thing, and you can kind of see if you can beat the daily.
Well, there's a little bit of direction, I guess.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not seeing it because there's another thing that can unlock, but it says you have to beat the regular game first before you can unlock this extra mode. And I'm like, well, I've finished like 6 or 7 runs. What am I missing here? So there's something that's not clear to me, but that's a me problem, not a not a game problem. So, I actually purchased this one. This was not provided to me. It is also, boy, I put on here that it's on Xbox and PlayStation. I don't know if that's right. If that's true, I may have to go pick this up on PlayStation or on Xbox and get some.
I don't know what it's on.
I put it on here. I put it on the notes. I'm saying I may have made that mistake. But the developer is Ludo Coulter, and the publisher is Two Left Thumbs. And yeah, seriously, guys, if you like pool at all, if you ever played remember Yahoo Pool? It was like a little flash game that you used to be able to play online with people and have a little chat box.
Sorry, I don't remember.
Man, I used to play that all the time with just either random people or people I knew because it was fun to have a little chat box. Oh, a nice shot or have a conversation. But this is like that with a little bit more purpose than just win the game. I don't know. It's fun.
And pool is important to video games, right? Because if it wasn't for pool, we never would have gotten the name Doom.
Is that true? I don't remember that.
There's some Tom Cruise movie about pool. I can't remember what it's called.
The Color of Money?
Yes. And I guess at one point he brings out his own pool stick and some guy goes "What's that?" And he says, "You're Doom."
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
And that's what got John Romero was like, "Oh, they thought that was so cool that he named the game Doom after that line."
I remember that from Masters of Doom. That story was told
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what a fun little trivia piece.
Yeah, that is. I like it. All right, moving on. I got a couple other reviews to share with you, but not games that I played. I sat down with Mark Szymanski, who checked out a couple games for us, and I'm going to have you talk to him or listen to him right now. Long time no see, Mark. How you been, sir?
It's been a long time, 7 whole days, but I've been doing great. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Good to see you. You're here to talk to us about a couple games, but I am particularly excited about the first one that you're talking about because me being a kid of the 80s, I grew up with the game Super Sprint as far back as the Atari 2600, then on the NES, also in the arcades, and Atari comes around and publishes NeoSprint, which is a kind of like a revitalization or a revival of that series, and it got me very excited because I loved these games as a kid. And NeoSprint looks like it is kind of doing the same thing. The overhead view of an entire racing track, updated graphics, and it does some clever things in there as well too. Am I missing anything?
No, it is a logical successor to Super Sprint. I also played it only on NES. I didn't play it on the Atari. But
I'm old.
I loved it. Well, no, I think I'm older than you, but I still didn't play it on the Atari. I only played it on NES, and that was one of my favorite games. I spent a lot of time with it. Just popped it in, arcade fun. You didn't have to spend a whole lot of time with it, so just do a few races and enjoy it. But this one does make a couple of adjustments to it, but in the end, at its soul, it is still that top-down, usually 4-on-4, but as you get farther into this game, it adds some cars, so you can do 6, 7 cars, even 8 if you get that far.
Oh, wow. Now, one of the things that I loved about Super Sprint was it never did the RC Pro-Am thing, where it kind of just focuses on your car and you can't really see the track coming.
Yep.
Is that still prevalent here with NeoSprint?
You have your choice in this new version. So you can have the classic top-down, you can see the entire track, or you can switch it to the RC Pro-Am style view, where it's a little bit more 3/4 view over the shoulder of the car, almost, for lack of a better term, like you had in RC Pro-Am.
Yeah.
I didn't prefer that view. And honestly, if you're going to play it, you mentioned it's available on Switch or PC. If you're going to use like your Steam Deck or your Switch, I wouldn't recommend the top-down view, though, because it's just too far away. But close up, I didn't like it on my TV because the tracks are small and the turns come up quick. So if you don't memorize the track, you're not going to have that view work out into your advantage.
Yeah, that was the frustrating thing about RC Pro-Am that I didn't like. So. Yep. At least you have the option. I just can't imagine choosing that option, but that's also could be a personal preference, I suppose.
I tried it out, and my personal preference was the classic view because as the game progressed, your opponents, and I'll talk about this in a second, but your opponents do get a little bit more aggressive, and there's a catch-up model, catch-up, not catch-up like on a hot dog, but
I was going to ask.
Where the computer will start catching up to you on the 3rd or 4th lap.
Oh, rubber banding.
Yes. So when you do that closer view, you don't know where your opponent's car is, and then suddenly they're dive bombing you and smashing you into the wall because they're catching up and they're more aggressive.
Right. I think one of the things that fascinated me as a kid was how some of the tracks like overlap each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually going under the track.
Yep.
And it blew my mind in the 80s of like, oh my God, I can't see the car, but I'm going to go through this. And does it leave like a little shadow, or is it still like a complete guessing game as to whether or not your car is there or what direction your car is?
It's a shadow, but it's like a telescope shadow. It doesn't like zoom in, but it's just a circle around your car. So you can't see if there's an obstacle in your way. You can't see where the wall might be coming up. So it's still a bit of a guessing game, but at least you can see your car so you know where you're at on the track.
Gotcha. What about power-ups? Are there power-ups in this one?
No power-ups. What you get at the start of the game is what you're racing with at the end.
Interesting.
So you don't have much of a car power increase. You don't even get levels. It's just the challenges get harder and harder. Your opponents get harder and harder as you progress through the campaign mode.
Interesting. What about multiplayer?
Yes, it does have multiplayer. It does have an online option as well. I didn't have an opportunity to do either of those, but the option is there, and I'm not sure if you've ever done racing online against other people. If they don't see you and you don't know them, they don't care about you. That's not real racing. They just will do whatever it takes to win,
destroy you.
Destroy you on the way, yes.
Gotcha. So you recommend people check out NeoSprint?
Oh, without a doubt. I mentioned in the review that it is $25, and honestly, that would even give me pause. I'm such a big fan, I would still buy it, but
yeah,
that might be a bit much for some to take for a classic-looking game. It doesn't really offer much for the new consoles, things like that, but if it scratches that itch like you and I talked about at the beginning, where the nostalgia factor is real there, highly recommended. Right. You're going to love it.
All right. Again, that's NeoSprint. Comes from Headless Chicken Games, published by Atari, and was provided to us by Uber Strategist. So shout out to those guys. We appreciate them hooking us up.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next game that you've been reviewing, which is an RTS that I love the title. I think this is what kind of drew me in to this game, was just the title. It's called Nuke Them All.
Yep.
This one comes from developer Indie Papa Mike, is published by Game Era Studios, and was provided to us by Keymailer. Tell me about Nuke Them All. What makes it stand out from other RTS games?
Well, I'm not huge on RTS games. In fact, I had to look it up just to make sure that I was understanding it correctly. The actual reason that when I told you about when I asked if I could do this game was it reminded me of General Chaos, which was back on the Sega Genesis.
I remember the box art for that game, but I don't think I ever played it.
Yeah, so you had 4 guys on your team. Now, in this one, you would select each one individually and tell them where to go and when to attack, things like that, if I'm recalling the game correctly. On Nuke Them All, you can also do that where you're selecting one at a time, but you can also pull your entire group, or on the PC, Control A to select all your people on the entire map and tell them all to go to this one area. And this one, if I may take a moment, the tutorial is provided by a real person. It's a little camera that like a image that pops up in the bottom right.
Like almost, full motion video?
Yeah, almost like you and I are here on this chat where we can see each other, or a Zoom call or something like that. And it goes on for 10 minutes, I think. It is a long time, and they're explaining how to play the game and what each of these characters do, and I'm like, this is really complicated. So when I went into it, I took like I commonly do, I took the skill and put it on what they call cakewalk.
Nice.
And it is totally a cakewalk. When you put it on that level, you don't need to worry about learning anything. You just melee. You select everybody, you go and you capture this flag, you attack this group, you capture the next flag, and once you've collected everything, or as you've grown and progressed and earned enough points, I would say, you can have the option to launch your nuke at a target, which takes out everything, and it doesn't matter if your people are close to it, you're safe. You can just nuke without care. I'm sure it's a lot different on the more difficult settings. I'm sure you need to learn about how to protect your fortress and your areas from attack. On Cakewalk, they weren't attacking my areas. They were just trying to come at me. And that was easy because it would leave their towers, their different power plants or whatever you want to call them, open for my attacks, undefended, exactly. And then they have a zombie bid on that. If it gets dark out, the zombies come and attack, and it's more of a distraction. Okay. There's a lot to this game, and somebody who loves RTS games is going to love this game. I was initially a little concerned because the graphic style is a little cartoony, but it's so much fun. It is so much fun. Yes.
So what else are you doing? I mean, is you mentioned like attacking, but I'm used to other RTSs where you're building up your base and making barracks and making things to create more soldiers. Is that stuff going on in here as well too?
Absolutely, it is. Soldiers, tanks, power-ups for those items if you need them. Plants, like manufacturing plants where you can do power-ups so that they make things faster. There is such a wide depth to this game, and there are so many levels. You could, if you are an RTS fan, you have so many options to spend a lot of time with this game, and I think a fan of that style is going to love this game.
You think you're going to bump it up outside of Cakewalk and
yes,
give it a whirl?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially once I get a little bit more accustomed to controlling it, because if I had one knock on this game, it's on my laptop screen, which isn't bad. I think this is about a 13-inch screen, 14-inch screen. It's not enough real estate. I want more screen.
Get you one of those ultra-wide curved monitors, man. That's it.
Yeah, and you can zoom in and out. That's not a problem. You can go all over the map with your arrow keys and the mouse and zooming in and out with the wheel on the mouse. Works out perfect. The controls are there. When I zoomed out, I didn't feel like I could see well enough, so I wanted to zoom in, and when I zoomed in, I lost sight of all the other areas that I was supposed to be keeping an eye on. So if that's my only knock, okay. So
with the title being Nuke Them All, is there yet nukes?
Yes, you get nukes.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, you after you kill so many enemies, it unlocks it, I suppose, or it makes that option available where you can launch your nuke. So you select a target, launch the nuke, it does exactly what you want it to do, and then that area is completely cleared out. Go capture your flag, and then turn your attention to the next one, and then you can build up to the next nuke if you would like. I'm sure on Cakewalk I was getting a lot of nukes, so I'm sure on the harder difficulties it is a bit more of a challenge, and it is a lot more of a reward to get the nuke.
All right, do you recommend Nuke Them All?
Without a doubt, so much fun.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for checking out those two games. I'm not a big RTS guy. I'm terrible at them, but I am really intrigued by NeoSprint, just for some nostalgia love, and hope some people will check out both of these games. So thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope they check them out too.
All right, we'll catch you next time.
Sure will.
As always, great to talk to Mark. That dude is a power horse when it comes to reviews. He reviews more games for us than most of us here on the show, which is impressive. Very quickly, want to remind everybody about Facebook. Check out our Facebook group, /groups /the GoCast. We got some new members to say hello to. Scott Brooks, Patrick Lakari, and Alex Karyotakis. And also, Patrick found his way over onto our Discord server as well. So be sure to check out that. There's a link for that in the show notes. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, Zach. Patrick actually discovered the Gaming Outsider because he wound up directly behind me in traffic. And I have on the back of my car vinyl stickers that say the Gaming Outsider and the website.
Oh my God!
That's how he found us.
I can't believe that works.
It worked.
Everyone makes fun of you for those bumper stickers, don't they?
They do. They especially made fun of me when I used to have the old Gaming Outsider logo on there. If you remember, the old Gaming Outsider logo was modeled after the blue Yetee microphone.
Oh, yeah,
And the vinyl color I used was very flesh-colored.
Oh, so it looked inappropriate.
It looked like a suction cup thing, and so I was very thankful that Nate redesigned our logo because I like the new one much better. But anyway, also check out our podcast wherever you're listening. If you have the opportunity, please drop us a review. We haven't got a Apple Podcast review in quite a while. I think I looked, the last one was Tim Pollen from like a year ago. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please do us a favor and drop a review. We would love to read it on the show. And lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our episodes, as well as all of our written content, including a slew of reviews that published this week. Spencer's review of Metal Mind, Sean's review of Hypercharge Unboxed, Mark's review of NeoSprint, which you just heard him talk about, and he also got his review of Eric and the Ruined Kingdom up on the site. Rel reviewed the early access for Underspace. My written review for Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is up there, as well as for the demo of Super Farming Boy. And lastly, my review of Necromantic, at least the early access version of that. Again, all of those are on the site. We'd love it if you read our content because we put a lot of work into doing that. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. For this week, our From the Outside In topic, we wanted to take one last look at the games announced in the last couple weeks during the season that we used to call E3 season. I thought it would be fun to share the titles that we're most looking forward to, as well as what the community thought. So, Zach, I know we kind of hate it when we talk about who, quote-unquote, won when it comes to all the press conferences each year, but maybe you'll indulge me. In your mind, which do you think had the best presentation? We got Sony, we got Ubisoft, we got Nintendo, we got Xbox. Probably some I missed. The PC Game Show. What do you think had the best showing?
Well, the real winner is us gamers.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's hard to say anybody but Xbox won.
I'm really shocked. I thought I was gonna have to argue with you, but yeah, that's
who the hell else would it be?
Nintendo.
Nintendo did have a great show, especially when you went into it, you just kind of expected it was going to be, the final death throes of the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But no, a bunch of great games. But yeah, no, I think Xbox pretty clearly won. I appreciated the Summer Games Fest because it felt like it was a good mix of small games, medium games, and big games.
Mm-hmm.
And I did think that it was kind of nice that they all kind of got equal billing. Like that weird koala prison escape game, for instance, being up there. So I did like that, but there's something about the flow to the Xbox's constant cadence that was kind of hard to ignore. And so many games look great there as well.
Yeah. I think the Xbox presentation was the best because I think Xbox had the most to prove out of anybody, right? Like they've had so much negative press in the past 6 to 9 months.
Pretty well deserved.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that whatsoever. Yeah. And they haven't had the first party titles. There hasn't been a real big reason to own an Xbox for quite a while, even though I played mostly on there. So I was very happy to see that they had such a good showing because there were so many games in that I was just genuinely excited to play.
Yeah.
Some of them we already knew about, but there were a lot of surprises. I walked away from that show pumped.
Right. And there were things that I thought, like Perfect Dark, right? It's like, man, we saw this game like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And or Fable, where like I still don't have a clue what that game is.
I know, and we've seen so much yet so little.
Yeah, they keep showing it off, but they haven't shown me anything.
Yeah.
But so
everyone's so excited for that game, but we don't know.
I don't know why. Yeah, but you're right. Like I feel like a bunch of excitement for it. I'm like, there's nothing to get excited over, because they tell you that's what the game looks like when it's running. Yeah. Well, I think you should have learned by now that every time that company said that, it's been a lie. It's not rocket science,
right?
But yeah, no. But outside of those, few stumbles, and I part of me, wishes Xbox didn't have the best showcase because they just shut down studios unnecessarily and promote absolute buffoons like Matt Booty up the ladder, even though they continuously fail. But the truth of the matter is, that was the best showing this year.
Even like the presentation just was so well paced.
Yes, yeah, and I still think the Switch, the Nintendo Directs is the best format for these things.
Mm-hmm.
I just like it. I like the narrator telling you about the games. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a little bit charming. And Nintendo, almost always shows off gameplay. Yeah,
right.
It's either just a logo like Metroid Prime 4, or when they finally do show it, it's gameplay.
Yep,
that's nice. Or like they got to be the only huge company left that when they announce a game like Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship, they're also like, and here's 5 minutes of the game so you know what it is.
Yep.
Or Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So that is also great. But yeah, at the end of the day, Xbox had the games I was most excited for, I think.
I agree. I really thought I was gonna fight you on that. I thought you were gonna say Nintendo. I really did.
Do you want to fight?
No, I don't.
So Nintendo, right? Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship. Okay, it looks way better than the Xbox had.
Well, I want to for the next section here, I want us to each come up with just one. What is the one game that was announced or shown more of? Something that we already knew was coming, but we actually got to see more gameplay footage of it. Out of all the games that we learned over Not-E3 season, what is the... We'll get like to some runner-ups and honorable mentions and things like that, but what is the number one thing that you... Like, if you could play it right now, you would be extremely happy to have right now?
The number one key 3 excitement for me.
Key 3?
This year, it has got to be South of Midnight.
Oh, the one that takes place in Louisiana?
Yeah, the bayou, kind of magical bayou fantasy game.
Yeah.
And I know it was announced previously, but we actually got to see it running now, and it kind of looks like, it's this an action-adventure game. But I just, there's something about the setting that I'm absolutely head over heels for. And, it's just cool. I think the main character looked fun, and the way she was interacting with that giant fish guy. There's a lot of charm there, and just the brief snippets of gameplay we saw just looked cool, and I really do love the setting. With that was like a giant alligator that she had to like run away from. In the gameplay demo, there's something about this game that's really caught my eye, and I think it's the premise alone when it was announced intrigued me, but seeing it in action, I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I am all over this game. I cannot wait.
I'm with you about my excitement for that game. The only thing that bugs me about it is I am not a fan of the Spider-Man Across the Universe animation, like on the 24s or whatever. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, I wish that was not the case.
I didn't like it, or that it
no.
wasn't
I wish it was. I wish that was not the case. That's what the game was.
Yeah,
but I am trusting that my eyes will get used to it.
Right.
So
it's one thing for a 2-hour movie, but if this is like a 20-hour game.
Yeah, well, I feel like your brain, brains are good at adjusting.
Yeah.
If you let them, if you don't hyperfixate like people do on frame rates and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you just like trust your brain, it computes these things. So it is very jarring to see. I agree, but I guess I'm just hopeful that it won't bother me in the long run.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting if you play that game and nothing else but that game for like its entire however many hours it is, and then go back to a normal game. And is it just going to seem like it runs like butter?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
that might be a perfect opportunity to play something that's poorly optimized, so your brain's ready for it.
Yeah.
If you go back and play Cyberpunk at launch, it'll look right.
Or House of Golf 2 right now.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what about you, Scott? What is the only one game that you could pick that got you the most excited?
I don't have as nearly an interesting of an answer as you do. Mine is pretty, low hanging fruit, especially if you know me. But Metroid Prime 4, man.
Really? Okay.
Dude. After going through the Metroid Prime remastered, which was just so much fun, like I could like pick that up again right now and just have a blast playing that again. That game is so good. But
you said Metroid Prime 1?
Metroid Prime 1, yeah.
Well, except for that annoying backtrack quest at the end, but other than that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like,
yeah, every Metroid Prime fan I talk to always forgets it. I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Granted, I only played it last year, but
I did not remember it this time around. Like when I played it, because I haven't played it in a long time. I did not remember it. I was like, this was in that game back then? I did not. You had to like go to like all these different points.
Every area, yeah.
Yeah.
I would be fine with it if you could like happen upon them throughout the game, but you really can't.
Right. You can't get to them until
you get everything, and it tells you can, yeah. But that's a different problem. I agree. Metroid Prime 4 looks cool. That guy with the 2 Metroids that he's got like as pets or whatever, attack dogs. That's pretty cool, man.
That's awesome. And I just genuinely want to see what they're going to do story-wise, because I mean everything we've gotten from Metroid recently has been a remake, right?
Well, Dread was a new game.
Well, I'm talking more recently, like between the Prime remake and then it's
and
was the one that was on Metroid Zero Mission.
Infusion was re-released last year.
Yeah. So like a fresh take, and Dread was it was awesome. The gameplay was really good and everything, but it didn't really push the story. Oh, they did something pretty cool at the end. You haven't played that yet, have you?
I have not, no.
Oh man, there's something they do at the end that's pretty awesome. It's not even like really story related, but I don't know. I'm one of those weirdos that's actually interested in the lore, like the overall, like what's going to happen next with Samus kind of thing. Like,
I'm always fascinated by when will we see Samus hunt a bounty?
yeah. She was a bounty hunter that just got roped into this intergalactic space pirate
Over
thing.
and over and over again.
Maybe would that be cool? Like
I don't
Metroid Prime 5 bounty hunter, and then it's just like going around the galaxy collecting bounties.
Maybe finally Prey 2 will be made a reality.
Yeah. So yeah, that I thought that might have been a surprise. I kind of assumed everybody would assume the new Zelda game, which I'm eager for. But Metroid, man,
I thought it might have been Gears
before 4.
Gears of War E-Day.
Oh, Gears. I'm sorry. I thought you said years.
Oh no. I thought for your number one excited game.
Well, you got to remember, I've been going through the Gears franchise with Joel.
Yeah, that's true.
Recently, so like I'm not like jonesing for Gears of War like a lot of people, you know what I mean?
But no, I never thought it would be the Zelda game. No offense to the Zelda game.
Oh, you didn't think I would have picked that?
No, well, it's not. It's so different than a Zelda game.
I mean, I don't know if we saw dungeons. Did we see dungeons?
No, I don't think so.
Everything was just in the overworld, right?
Right. Well,
So-
it feels like it'd be kind of hard to design dungeons if you could just item your way around everything.
Well, it depends on, because you can just item your way through, like you said, but if you needed access to a specific thing that you can copy and it's gear gated up to that
Yeah.
point, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, I'd be really curious to see what the dungeons look like. Like, I'm not going to play it, though. I mean, I'm going to play it. The only problem
Right.
is it comes out in September, and we'll be in deep E3 planning season at that point.
R2V2.
Or, yeah, sorry, R2V2 planning. I'm already calling my own convention E3.
That's right. We're gonna replace it, guys. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So I said we'd do honorable mentions. I kind of already gave my first honorable mention with Zelda. What about you?
Was it Claire Obscure Expedition 33?
Is that the one with the number, the artist paints the number?
The painter one.
That was going to be mine as well. I just could not remember the name of it. That game looks so rad.
Dude, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
And what a surprise.
Yeah, something like new IP that we know with mechanics that look familiar but look like they're doing something different with it as well, like the timed hit thing.
Yeah,
But you're doing multiple ones. Oh, bring it.
Kind of proving you could do a turn-based Final Fantasy if you wanted to in the modern era.
Yeah.
Nothing about it leaked beforehand. Just very exciting.
Is it like a French studio? Is it
Yes.
French?
Mm-hmm.
Like that one stuck out to me so much from that press conference, and it's coming to Game Pass, dude. Like I don't even have to pay extra for that.
Yeah,
it just kind of blew my mind.
Just crazy because obviously turn-based RPGs belong on PlayStation. I think we all know that. just where they feel right. But yeah, no, that is exciting that it'll be on Game Pass. I think that game's gonna low key be a hit.
Yeah,
maybe not even low key because a lot of people are excited about it. And then my other big one would be Mario and Luigi Brothership. Seriously,
like what a surprise, dude! Like especially come out the gate swinging with that on that press conference.
Yes, absolutely, and I love the way it looks. It almost looks like it is trying to replicate the Game Boy Advance look, because you remember those, like the sprites on that had like those thick black lines around them. Yeah, so it actually kind of looks like that look and feel, which is cool. And I guess I just didn't know how much I was missing the Mario and Luigi team up games, man, because I just had a smile on my face the whole trailer.
Yeah,
I cannot wait. I'm very excited for that game.
And the thing that got me was when that started, I was like, oh, I was trying to look at it and figure out, okay, which one are they remaking?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
And then it was like, no, it's a brand new game. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is amazing. This is awesome. So this
is great, man.
That was Absolutely. Very cool. You might be surprised by this one, but I'm genuinely looking forward to playing the campaign for Black Ops 6.
Yeah?
But mostly because I don't have to buy the whole dang game this time. I can just play the campaign.
I'm pretty stoked that I don't have to GameFly it this year.
Yeah, like it's just I can download it. I probably had to download all the multiplayer stuff.
I think they said that was a mistake.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I could have swore I read that they said like the 300 gigabyte thing is just
Yeah, I did read that as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, I don't want to download the multiplayer. I want to just download the campaign. I hope that they let you like section it out, because I'm sure there's some people that only want to play the multiplayer as well.
Trying to remember how it worked for Modern Warfare 3, but I can't remember because it brings you to that Call of Duty hub thing now where you can see all the Call of Duty games, and it friggin' sucks to navigate, dude. I hate it.
So you have to go to like a different UI or something.
Yeah, it's not clean. It's not efficient. It top to bottom sucks. Just let me play a freaking video game.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Black Ops 6 is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm just surprised to hear you're that excited about it. Is it the 90s setting?
I think so, because again, I was a teenager when it was going on.
Right.
You know, it's just bizarre that I'm going to be playing a video game based on a war that was going on when I was a teenager. You know, like it's just kind of crazy. But yeah, those were the big ones. Gears, like you said, obviously stood out. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, look, it was a very good cutscene. Absolutely.
I'm still shocked at how good Troy Baker sounds as Harrison Ford.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for that game. I kind of want to see what it looks like. Just like show me 10 minutes of the game uninterrupted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Troy Baker does sound like Harrison Ford.
But again, we don't have to pay extra for that one. Like,
just crazy. It's Indiana Jones.
I know.
Yeah. Well, it's a machine game, so it's bound to be great.
Yeah.
If they know one thing, it's how to make a game that's exciting about beating up Nazis.
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
Any others you want to shout out, or we should the community said?
I mean, I'm stoked for Fantasian coming to consoles.
I've never played that, so
yeah, I think I hope it lives up for people. I hope people check it out because I really dug what I played. I guess I hope the second half of the game is as good as the first half, but I was really blown away by it when it came out of Apple Arcade.
Is that the one that actually uses pictures of actual dioramas?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That just sounds so cool.
It's so unique. It's
you know what we didn't see that I was expecting to see more gameplay from, and I cannot remember the name of it. What, the one where like you play as a knight that's like going in the storybook?
Oh, the Plucky Squire?
The Plucky Squire.
Yeah.
When is that coming? I feel like we've been hearing about the game for 3 years now.
Said this year.
That's a day one purchase for
me. It made kind of the preview rounds a few days ago, so it must have been out there for someone.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but that game looks straight up delightful.
Delightful. Great way to describe that. Well, let's go on and see what the community said. We asked for you guys for your thoughts on what game you were most looking forward to. And if you'd like to be part of this conversation, be sure to check out the social media outlets I mentioned above. We always post this a few days before the episode, and we'd love to get some feedback from you. First off, over on Facebook, Sean Coates writes in and
Machine
says,
Games #1 fan, Sean Coates.
Yeah, he is all about anything that is 80s nostalgia, Terminator, RoboCop. And I guess Starship Troopers is 90s, but he's all over that Starship Troopers game. Sean Coates says, "Oh man, there were so many things announced, and many of them are due out this year. There's too many to list here, so I'll just name a few that I'd love to review, if you'd grant me the honor." I love how he's just like teeing himself up, be like, dibs. Oh, look at this. Was I kidding? First off, The Thing remaster. Not a horror junkie by any stretch, but The Thing is my favorite horror movie of all time.
The Thing's pretty great.
Starship Troopers Extermination, yet another FPS game based on the classic IP from my youth, just like RoboCop and Terminator Resistance. And speaking of Terminator Survivors, am I officially the go-to Terminator guy? I would probably say
it
yes.
Depends. You need to let us know what your thoughts are on Terminator Salvation before I can make this assessment.
There you go. I'll let you decide if that means you should like it or not like it.
I was saying, yeah, I don't want to tip my hat one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, you have in the past, so.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah. Stalker 2. After reviewing another Chernobyl-based horror game, it got me interested in the Stalker franchise. Funko Fusion. This one surprises me. I know the bubble is bursting on the Funko Pop craze, but I still like them and it looks fun. Plus, I'm a sucker for media that exploits my nostalgia. They do a Back to the Future thing in that, don't they?
Yes.
Which makes me kind of...
Maybe all over it.
Yeah.
I love that he just admits that it's exploiting his nostalgia, though. Like,
yeah,
not that it's not like a celebration. It's just like fully exploiting his like, but I'm there for it. Who cares?
It's working. Sorry, that's a long read. I had fun watching as many of the live streams as I could in a futile attempt to stay in the know. Also, I think Xbox had the best showcase. There you have it.
I
Zack?
do. I'm excited for Stalker 2.
I've never played Stalker
I
1.
don't, but that's my thing. I was like, should I play the first Stalker first?
Yeah.
I don't want to be some kind of loser just coming in 10 years later picking up Stalker 2.
I mean, it's not like you never played Dead Rising.
Yeah,
Like me.
Oh, I don't think those are connected.
Well, it's just the loser that didn't play the original game.
Well, yeah. Well, I've always wanted to check out Stalker. They're finally on consoles for the first time in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So, I finally have the opportunity, I guess. But, such as it is. Kevin Honingford writes in, I actually haven't seen a lick of it, but Metroid Prime 4 finally being announced as a finished product has me all kinds of worked up. It's been a long time since I've been excited about a Nintendo Don't release, and this did it for me. Wow. I hope he didn't write this message in his Sonic the Hedgehog room.
I kind of want to go back and play 3. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Yeah, I want to play 2 and 3. Nintendo, you're listening to me?
Yeah. Well, I have a Wii now.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
actually right behind me.
Do you own the trilogy, or you'd have to hunt it down and pay exorbitant fees for it?
I feel like CB would have it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could probably make that happen, but I feel like that's one I should own anyway, as a Metroid fan that I am.
Maybe.
2, I just don't know if I want to do it. Because here's the thing. Metroid Prime 2 came out not the same year maybe, but around the same time Paper Mario did. And I remember how, I haven't played that game in 20 years, and Paper Mario, I remember it being a slog in terms of just taking too much time. And I felt that way about Metroid Prime 2 back in the day. So I feel like I'm going to run into the same situation if I go back and play 2. Like, man, this flipping back and forth between worlds is just I'm over it. I want this game to be done, But then 3 felt like a breath of fresh air. So, but that was part of the breath of fresh air was that I could use the Wii remote as a shooter.
Oh yeah, awesome. Sure. I just feel like unless you say glowing things about Metroid Prime 4, I feel like it's gonna be hard for me to want to play it without having played 2 and 3 now. Yeah. So Nintendo, fix the problem.
Like how though? Like they just put out a remastered collection of both of those games?
Of course, yeah. Or I mean, if you need to do the kind of half remake, half remaster with Prime, and even sell me 2 and 3 for $40 each, that's fine. I'll do it. But
I feel like those were kind of rebuilt though, not just I would just take a straight up, just port it.
Yeah, I was gonna say just straight port me the Wii version. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care what it looks like. Those games look pretty decent on Wii.
Yeah, just let me play the games.
Yeah,
if you want me to play the end of the Prime story.
I mean, honestly, maybe that's why they're waiting till 2025 because that game's been in development 8 years at this point.
Yeah,
maybe that's what they'll announce at the end of the year or something. Man, could you imagine just shadow dropped it right at Christmas season?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be amazing. All right, moving over to Discord. Mark Szymanski says, PlayStation fan here, 100% Xbox One the summer showcases. Sure, I have Astrobot. I forgot about Astrobot.
Oh, yeah, dude, that would absolutely be in my... Oh, man, I feel bad now.
I feel bad. I forgot about that, too, because that game looks so good. Sure, I have Astrobot and Silent Hill 2 that will occupy my time. A lot of the Switch games will have my attention, but neither compared to the depth of the Xbox presented. So many options, impressive looking and fun. Indiana Jones continues to be my most anticipated upcoming game, even if it is just Uncharted the early years, because I am, after all, a Sony boy.
Yes, of course, everyone knows Indiana Jones only exists because of Uncharted.
Yes, right. It's kind of like that line from Dumb and Dumber says, they have the monkeys. They were a big influence on the Beatles.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, Silent Hill 2 does look great, but Astrobot looks magical, man.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to be the best 3D platformer since Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know about better, but we just don't get enough of those whimsical, fun 3D games.
Yeah, whimsical's is nice, yeah. And it's just, celebrating the PlayStation history like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be an absolute blast.
You get to fly a PS5.
It looks like Kratos lends you his axe.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. Even Parappa the Rapper makes an appearance.
Maybe he'll lend you his microphone.
Yeah.
You can rap your way through a stage. That'd be cool. Punch.
It's all in the mind.
Yeah. And then finally, Drew Ross writes in, Xbox definitely kicked butt this year. Multiplayer-wise, I'm really excited for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I've been disappointed with COD in recent years. Treyarch has, for me, always been the better of the COD devs. They've had the most development time out of the previous Call of Duties, and it will be on Game Pass at launch. This release could be something special. Single-player-wise, I really liked what I saw on the new Fable. It's one of my most anticipated upcoming games. Love that trilogy of games. Hopefully we get to see more soon.
There you go. There's one that's excited.
But for what? What did you see, Drew, that excited you? I would love to hear.
Yeah.
Because to me, it just looked like a bunch of graphics. I don't know, a bunch of cutscenes. Just didn't look... Where's the combat? What's the RPG elements? What are we exploring? What's going on in this Fable game?
Yeah. By the way, Joel has informed me that he is going to try his hardest to get me to play the multiplayer for COD. I played a little 5 with him. Dude, I'm so terrible at those games. And it's not like a Titanfall, where when I jumped into Titanfall, nobody had played Titanfall, which, it's a first-person shooter that people are familiar with, but there was just so much more going on. I actually stood a chance. People going into Black Ops 6 have been playing Call of Duty for the past 30 years, and it's somewhat the same formula. You know what I mean? And I don't stand a chance. I just really don't stand a chance at all. And it's not fun to just get killed over and over and over and over again.
I never really did like Call of Duty's multiplayer.
Yeah.
It just feels like if you see them first and shoot, like it's see first, win. Yeah. I don't know. It's not that I like Halo or Titanfall or something where you have a chance to fight back if somebody gets to jump on you a little bit.
Right. You can kind of dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a chance to recover. It feels more skill based to me, but I understand. I probably just suck at Call of Duty. That's probably what it is.
Oh, I definitely suck at Call of Duty.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that's I'm sure I'm just not understanding it, and that's why it seems that way to me. I'm sure.
That's gonna do it for the topic. Thanks so much to everybody that wrote in. Next week's topic, we actually decided this right before we started recording. We're going to talk about game startup settings next week. You know when you fire up a game and you got to go through all of the menu screens of like, sound and
calibrate your HDR, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, and I want to know how everybody sets up theirs because I've got questions about what all that means. So we want to hear what you guys do. How do you set it up? Do you just do the default, or do you actually go through and tweak things as you go, or do you take advantage of all those settings?
Do you boost up the brightness in horror games so you don't have to get scared?
Yeah, right. That's a good point too. I'm actually looking forward to that. We just kind of just like randomly were talking about it before we started recording. I was like, let's make it a topic, and that's what we did. So stay tuned for the socials. I will post that probably before this episode releases. So stay tuned and please share your thoughts on that discussion. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. The episode, as always, is produced by Kevin Honigford. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemmagemusic.com. And don't forget, if you'd like to see him perform live, you can do so at R2V2 in October. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, any parting words or recommendations for our listeners?
Oh, hell yes. So Kevin Costner put out his epic Horizon: An American Saga 2-part big Western coming out this summer. First part being 3 hours long. And it was amazing. Absolutely loved it. I'm happy to report that it's just, it is, despite being so expansive and having so many characters, so many of them felt so layered. And having depth that you might not expect. Even the villains, has a little more depth to them than you would think, or even like there's a caravan, going along the Oregon Trail, and almost every character they introduce has more depth than you would think. You see them in more context. It's just, it was great, man. I absolutely loved it. Stellar. Sienna Miller, is a name I've always known, but I don't know what I know her from, but her performance as the lead lady of this movie, exceptional. She's great.
Nice.
This is I know it's tough to get people to watch 3-hour movies in general, but I tell you what, this is a great one. And it was fun being in a theater where you're the youngest person by about 3 decades. So
yeah.
Although
I saw your tweet.
Although the old couple next to us was very nice. Had a
that's
nice
cool.
little They confirmed to me. I was asking them and their friends. I was like, "Is it Kevin Costner that brought you out?" And they're like, "It was, as a matter of fact." I was like, "That's so interesting. I didn't know that old people loved Kevin Costner that much."
Is that Yellowstone? Is he on Yellowstone?
Yeah, he's on Yellowstone. Yeah, he's
But didn't he
the
just
lead.
confirm that he's done?
Yes, they couldn't work it out for him to be in the last season
Oh, really?
because he's too busy filming these Horizon movies.
Yeah.
You know, the first 2 are already filmed. He's filming 2 more. Madman. The idea is this could be 4 chapters, but you know, each half forms its own story. But it'll just be like you'll catch up with the characters many years later or something.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like incredible cast. You know, Kevin Costner, Sienna Miller, Danny Heston, Sam Worthington is
Yeah.
in this movie. He's
There you
great.
go.
He's a handsome fella. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I don't know if I'll convince anybody listening to this to watch it, but you absolutely should. Even if I'm sure it'll stream somewhere before the second chapter comes out. Yeah, this movie.
Wait, first chapter is 3 hours?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, first chapter is 3 hours.
Holy cow! Wow.
So if the chapter 2 is as long, that means the first half is going to be 6 hours.
That's
but I don't
amazing.
know if it will be. Do they do a clever thing at the end of this movie where not really that clever, but they do a little montage of stuff that's going to be in the second movie,
Mhm.
and it really does feels like next time on, but you're like, holy crap, I got to see this next movie right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is super cool. And I think chapter 2 is only releasing in a couple months.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which sounded, when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, they're just sending it out there to die. But now that I've seen how this movie wraps up, you know, and it doesn't end on on a cliffhanger or like a dead stops.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like it ends in a comfortable spot, but you could easily see where it's going to continue.
Gotcha.
You know, but it does. But now that I've seen that, I'm like, oh, it's smart. I only have to wait 2 months because I really do want to see what's coming up next for these characters.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't
dude,
think I've ever seen. I can only think of one instance where a movie did that, where they show like in the sequel, you know, here's what's going to happen in the next one, and that was Back to the Future 2. At the end of Back to the Future 2, they showed clips of Back to the Future 3.
Oh, because they filmed them at the same time, so they
Right.
could, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
I can't
Yeah,
think of
that's
another movie that ever did that besides that and Horizon. I'm probably wrong. I've obviously not seen all the movies.
Yeah. Well, I think The Matrix 2 had a trailer for Matrix 3 after the credits, but it wasn't quite the same feeling, I guess.
Yeah, this is like a next time on Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's what it feels like here too.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, big recommendation, man. I've been looking forward to this movie for a long time, so I'm really happy it didn't suck. Also, Luke Wilson is in this movie. He's kind of a tough guy, and it actually works,
Wow.
which I was not expecting. Like, you know, when I saw him showing up in this trailer as like the leader of this, you know, Oregon Trail Caravan, I was like, "There's no way that's gonna work."
Wait, I was
It's-
just thinking Owen Wilson. Luke
No,
Wilson.
Owen Wilson would be impossible.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
yeah, no, Luke Wilson, yeah, even him as being a tough guy was unexpected, but it kind of worked.
Oh, that kind of intrigues me.
Yeah, Owen Wilson. Wow, this desert's hot.
As for me, I have a music recommendation that was actually recommended to me. Brian Regatti from our community messaged me this week. He and I have been Amazon Music buddies for years now. And I always recommend metal, but my true love when it comes to music is pop punk. And he introduced me to a band. They're not a new band by any means. They've been around for a while. But the band is called Rematch. And the album that he introduced me to is Broken Steps, which is kind of a cool name for an album title, I thought. And the song that he introduced me to is called Chicago. Very just hooky, upbeat, pop punk music. I'm really digging it. I'm going to look into the rest of their catalog and see what else they've got. But instantly a fan. After one song, I was a fan. So I highly recommend checking that out. So anyway, Zach, this has been awesome, dude. I love, and unfortunately, CB and Alyssa were not able to join us, but I had a good time just chatting it up with you, man.
Yeah, dude, I always have a blast with you.
Yeah, we're going to do the same thing when I'm out there in Portland. We're going to actually sit kneecap to kneecap and record.
Hell yeah.
That's
Well,
gonna-
you know, if I play my cards right, I might even be a little closer than kneecap to kneecap.
Wow. All right. I'm getting a little nervous now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, until next week,
I like them nervous.
I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, and we are the Gaming Outside. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.